In my past life, my husband's poor management led to the company's bankruptcy. He took poison with his parents, uncles, and all 7 family members right before my eyes. The shock was too much to bear, and I fainted. When I came to, his entire family of 7 had already been cremated. Before grief could set in, the loan sharks came knocking again. It suddenly hit me. I'd become the sole survivor of this family. A decade later, my hands trembled as I paid off the final debt. Only to find their family of 7 haunting the abandoned house. Sui tossed a coin at my feet, thanking me for clearing their debts all these years. Watching that vile creature bask in triumph, I finally coughed up blood and died of sheer rage. When I opened my eyes again, I'd returned to the day my husband went bankrupt. Suyi's tear-streaked face appeared before me, every word dripping with crocodile tears. Serya, I know I've wronged you. My nepotism and poor management drove the company into bankruptcy, leaving us with crushing debts. With trembling hands, he produced a blue glass bottle crudely labeled with a skull, as if screaming poison to the world. Serya, forgive us. We've reached the end of the road. Death is our only atonement. He gave me a profound look, then resolutely raised the glass bottle and gulped down its contents in large swallows. Serya, I hope you can forgive me. Sui coughed up blood, collapsing to the ground in agonized convulsions, yet his eyes remained fixed on me with unwavering intensity. The hauntingly familiar scene jolted me awake with sudden realization. I'd been reborn, returned to that fateful day a decade ago when the nightmare began. In my past life, my husband's stubborn nepotism ran the company into the ground. Despite my desperate pleas, we ultimately became bitter enemies over it. In a fit of anger, they cut off all contact with each other. A year later, to my shock, my husband showed up with his parents, uncles, and the entire 7-member family in tow. My husband wept bitterly, consumed by regret, then drank poison before my eyes, pleading for forgiveness with his dying breath. Before I could react, all 7 family members simultaneously took their own lives in a horrifying scene. Watching my once beloved husband die in agony before my eyes, with our entire family of 7 perishing simultaneously, I broke down in tears. Not only did I forgive all my husband's wrongdoings, but I was utterly devastated, consumed by regret, overwhelmed by grief. I eventually collapsed into unconsciousness. Only when I came to did I realize Aunt Susie had already cremated all 7 family members in the blink of an eye. Before I could even begin to process this overwhelming grief, I was shocked to find loan sharks enforcers swarming our doorstep. Their thugs were menacingly blocking the entrance. To my utter shock, I discovered Sui had racked up debts totaling a staggering 100 million. I'm now the sole surviving debtor left in this family. Though I resisted with every fiber of my being, the law left me no choice but to shoulder this burden, unless I wanted to rot in prison. With no alternatives, I had to liquidate both my villa and company to settle the debts. I even sold my parents' company and house together. Later, I worked day and night, juggling 3 jobs while living frugally. It took me a full decade to pay off the last penny. Just as my trembling hands made the final payment, thinking the nightmare was finally over, I suddenly realized the villa I'd sold years ago was now home to a loving family. My ex-husband changed his name, now living happily with his new lover and their adorable children. My in-laws beamed with joy, looking even younger than me, clearly living their best lives. My heart bled as if slashed by a knife. I remembered my parents who worked themselves to death 3 years ago, paying off my debts. I recalled these 10 years of toiling day and night, my hair graying young, my face haggard with exhaustion. Sui drove off in his luxury car, his stunning young wife nestled in his arms. Before leaving, he rolled down the window and looked at me like I was some kind of fool. He casually tossed a single coin that fluttered down to land at my feet. Here's $1 for your trouble in paying off our family's debts. Ha ha ha. Watching their smug, despicable faces filled me with unbearable agony. With a sickening thud, I vomited a pool of blood before sinking into eternal darkness. Smack, a stinging slap landed across my face. Before I could steady myself, shrill curses pierced my ears. You heartless wretch, even one day as husband and wife brings 100 days of grace. How could you just watch my brother die? My sister-in-law's slap jolted me awake, my eyes flying open. My sister-in-law's vicious sneer was the first thing that met my eyes. You venomous creature. Her voice was shrill with malice. I looked up to see my elder and younger sisters-in-law charging at me like a pair of enraged she-wolves. Susan, my sister-in-law, heavily pregnant, glared at me with venomous eyes, pointing an accusing finger as she raged. It's all because of you, you heartless witch, refusing to help us pay our debts. Determined to drive our whole family to ruin, you're nothing but a demon. My other sister-in-law, Sophie, dressed provocatively, also stared at me with fury, her crimson lacquered fingernail jabbing dangerously close to my nose. How heartless can you be? Even if my brother argued with you, don't you remember the bond between husband and wife? Must you watch their entire family perish to be satisfied? The torrent of accusations rained down on me like a storm, leaving me no room to respond. I stood there silently with narrowed eyes, enduring their verbal abuse, appearing frozen in shock while inwardly sneering with cold contempt. Just like in my past life, everything happened so suddenly. The sight of corpses everywhere left me utterly stunned and at a complete loss. Just as I rushed to cradle my husband, those two wonderful sisters-in-law of mine popped out of nowhere. Those two had always had it in for me, constantly stirring up trouble and nitpicking over every little thing. They played no small part in driving the wedge between me and my husband to the point of estrangement. Now they're just throwing all the blame at me without even hearing my side. It was clearly Suyi's own poor management and refusal to take advice that led to the bankruptcy, yet outsiders would think I drove them to their deaths. Besides, Suyi and I have been separated for over a year according to our previous agreement. Soon we'll be able to dissolve our marriage directly. Only after living a second life did I realize Suyi had planned this all along. The whole family faked their deaths right before our marriage dissolution, all just to make me the sole debtor by default. The entire family conspired in this scheme, first with all 7 members suddenly claiming they'd commit suicide, just when I was overwhelmed with shock. They sent 2 sisters-in-law to take turns bombarding me, leaving me speechless in my own defense. It's clear now they had this perfectly orchestrated, denying me even a moment's respite, all to prevent me from gathering my thoughts. Their stream of insults and false accusations continued, with Suzy and Sophie flanking me, completely blocking my line of sight. Shinyu, if it weren't for how much my brother loves you, I'd have called the police to have you arrested today. Shinyu. Give me back my brother. Give me back my parents. May you die a horrible death. Just then, my parents arrived and saw corpses and blood strewn everywhere. My timid mother immediately collapsed to the ground, while my father swayed unsteadily, his face ashen with terror. My heart aches unbearably. My parents must be terrified out of their wits by now. The Su family scheme was utterly vicious. Any decent person would be horrified witnessing 7 family members perish on the spot. In their past life, the whole family panicked and fell completely under the Su family's control. They had no idea they were walking step by step into a carefully laid trap. At this thought, a subtle smirk curled at the corner of my lips. Even Providence must have been appalled by Suyi's heinous deeds, granting me this miraculous chance to be reborn. With such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, I'll make sure to thoroughly cleanse every ounce of humiliation I've endured. My gaze pierced through Su Qian's hair, catching sight of Suyi contorted on the ground in a ludicrous posture. The crimson paint spewed from his mouth splattered across the floor in a horrifying spectacle. In my past life, that garish red had seared my eyes. I never truly opened them to look carefully, though they died of poisoning. Each corpse bore rosy cheeks and vivid lips, as if merely asleep. Only later, when I ended up working as a hospital orderly, did I finally understand. Poison victims don't just turn ashen with purple lips, they foam at the mouth. Their eyes bulge grotesquely, a truly horrifying sight. Back then, I was just a sheltered goody two-shoes who'd never known hardship, completely clueless about the world. The slightest trouble would send me into panic, let alone a catastrophe involving 7 lives. Suyi, how could you be so cruel? Why did you abandon me like this? I planned to force out a few tears just for show. But the moment I recalled all those bitter years, an overwhelming grief seized me, and the tears came pouring down, too. With a sudden wail, I shoved Sophie aside and threw myself onto Suyi's lifeless body. I had only one purpose in doing this, to determine whether Suyi was faking sleep, or if she had actually been drugged into unconsciousness. The 2 Su sisters never expected me to suddenly lose my temper and charge forward. Sophie got knocked aside by me. Flailing her arms in panic and accidentally yanking her heavily pregnant sister, the 2 of them broke into a cold sweat, barely managing to steady themselves by clinging to each other. By the time we came to our senses, I found myself already kneeling on the ground, my hands wrapped around Suyi's neck, shaking him violently. Shinyu, have you lost your mind? My brother's already dead. How could you treat his body like this? Su Qian was terrified, just as she rushed forward to intervene. A sharp pain shot through her abdomen. He froze in place, covering his mouth while spewing curses. Turning a deaf ear, I choked Suyi violently while slamming his head against the ground. Thud, thud, thud. The relentless pounding sounds made one's scalp crawl. The sheer noise alone conveyed the agony. Suyi, you bastard, wake up. Stop scaring me like this. Open your eyes right now. The curses kept tumbling from my lips, though to outsiders it just sounded like the ravings of someone overcome with grief. Sophie finally snapped out of her daze and rushed over to yank me up by the arm. I didn't resist, the ghost of a smile playing at the corners of my downturned mouth. I figured it all out. Sui actually took some kind of sedative to enhance the effect and ended up in a deep coma. The others must have done the same. Can't believe they'd go to such lengths just to frame me. Xingyu, you bastard, are you trying to kill me? Wait, no. Are you desecrating my brother's corpse? Overcome with rage, Sophie nearly slipped up but quickly caught herself before angrily slapping him. Smack, my cheek instantly flushed red, bearing 5 distinct finger marks, yet instead of getting angry, I flashed Sophie with an eerie grin. Sophie gasped in horror, her heart nearly stopping from the shock. I alternated between hysterical laughter and sobbing, my deranged demeanor clearly showing the psychological toll of extreme trauma. Just then, the piercing wail of a siren cut through the air as an ambulance came screeching to the scene. Before it even came to a complete stop, a young male doctor in a white coat leaped out and rushed straight into the lobby, without waiting for instructions. He immediately dropped to his knees beside the prone figure and began conducting a practiced examination. Dilated pupils, no heartbeat or pulse, clear signs of fatal poisoning. The male doctor wore a stern expression as he rattled off a string of medical jargon, delivering Suyi's death pronouncement with clinical certainty. When Sophie spotted his arrival, a flicker of restrained joy surfaced beneath her glamorous facade. Only much later did I accidentally discover that this emergency physician, Wu Shuda, was actually Sophie's boyfriend, but their families had long severed ties by then, leaving everyone unaware of this connection. Wu Shuda's identity was clearly part of the Su family's long-laid plans, the crucial piece in their harebrained scheme to fake their deaths. I smirked inwardly but deliberately feigned panic as I pleaded with Wu Shuda. Doctor, my husband might still be alive. Please, resuscitate him, quick. Wu Shuda fixed me with a stern gaze. Madam, please accept my condolences. This is a professional examination, there's absolutely no mistake. He even reached out to push me aside as he spoke. Step aside and don't interfere with my work. There might still be survivors among the remaining patients. His self-righteous words only drew a cold sneer from me. This very same righteous emergency doctor helped fabricate fake death certificates for all 7 members of Suyi's family, and thus I fell completely into their vicious trap. I obediently stepped aside, watching as he methodically examined each body before solemnly declaring all 7 Sus deceased. I secretly activated my phone's recording function before approaching Dr. Wu again. Doctor, take a closer look. I think they're just unconscious, not dead. Please check again, I'm begging you. Tears streaming down my face, I grabbed Wu Shuda's arm and shook it violently. A flicker of guilt crossed Wu Shuda's face, but Sophie rushed over just in time to save him from this situation. What the hell do you mean? You've killed my entire family. And you still dare to deny it? She's always quick to throw mud at me, trying to trap me with that kind of talk. No, little sister, I really think your brother and the others are still alive. Look, his arm is still warm, and I swear I just saw Mom's eyelid twitch. My frantic words startled Sophie and Susie so much that they immediately grabbed hold of me. Sis, you're mistaken. It must be grief playing tricks on your mind. Besides, those are certified EMTs, they wouldn't mistake life for death. In desperation, Sophie even played the emotional card, reluctantly addressing me as sister-in-law through gritted teeth. While speaking, Sophie urgently signaled to Wu Shuda with her eyes, urging him to issue the death certificate quickly to avoid complications. Beads of sweat forming on his forehead, Wu Shuda hastily pulled out the prepared death certificates and began scribbling away with his pen. Death certificates flowed effortlessly from his hand like this. A cold smirk curled at the corner of my lips. In these brief moments, I'd already devised my perfect revenge. If Sui wants to play dead, I'll make sure he dies for real. The Su family's weapon against me was this death certificate, and now it would become the instrument of their downfall. With this document, I could legally march them straight to the crematorium as the grieving widow and watch them turn to ashes. Wu Shuda had already prepared the death certificates and handed them directly to me. Here are their death certificates. Take a good look. 3. In my past life, that stack of death certificates was the final straw that shattered my fragile psyche, overwhelming me with grief until I collapsed unconscious. My heart leaps with joy as I gaze upon this stack of death certificates. This is my scepter on the path to vengeance. The sharpest sword in my arsenal. No, this can't be real. You're lying to me. Aren't you, doctor? Please double check. Could there be some mistake? To sell the act and seal Wu Shuda's fate completely, I grabbed his arm again while feigning desperate sobs. Cold sweat beaded on Wu Shuda's forehead as he hastily yanked my arm away, avoiding eye contact while shouting defensively, "What nonsense are you spouting? How could I possibly make a mistake? That's absolutely impossible." Sophie and Susie quickly stepped in to restrain me. Sis, you're too distraught, don't take it out on the doctor. That's exactly what I wanted to hear from Wu Shuda. so I obediently released my grip. With so many deaths happening at once, I'm afraid we won't be able to explain it properly. Shouldn't we call the police first? My terrified expression nearly drove Su Qian and Sophie to complete hysterics. They both blurted out almost simultaneously, if the police came. How could they possibly keep up the charade of 7 family members pretending to be dead? Why, they died in my house. What if you accuse me of murder later? What am I supposed to do? I pretended not to understand and asked, how could that happen, sister-in-law? We all know they committed suicide. There are only 2 of us left in the Su family now. Who'd go out of their way to frame you? Sophie racked her brains trying to explain. While Susie was more direct, she pointed at me and started yelling, Xinyu, what's the meaning of this? They've suffered enough in death. And now you want the police to cut them open? You're absolutely heartless. Bombarded with a torrent of moral arguments, I immediately fell silent. Well, if that's the case, we won't wait any longer. As I spoke, I pulled out my phone and dialed a number directly. Hello, is this the crematorium? We've got a mass poisoning emergency here, 7 victims. Need your hearse dispatched immediately. Yes, death certificates are already issued. All family members are present with no objections. The address is 128, Jianglin Road. Don't ask how I got the crematorium's number. Back when I hit rock bottom, I even worked as a body carrier at a funeral parlor. The pay there was exceptionally high, which made others completely unwilling to do the job. At first, both Susie and Sophie were completely clueless about what I was trying to do. Hearing this, it suddenly dawned on them. That wretched woman intended to burn their entire family alive. No, tell them not to come now. Sophie screamed at me, her face contorted with rage. They completely ignored me and slammed the phone down with a sharp click. Turning to look at me, they asked with a puzzled expression, little sister, why? Our family died so tragically. I can't bear to see this. Do you really want to leave them lying on the floor like this? No, that's not what I meant. Sophie was at a loss for words and desperately signaled to Susie for help. Susie subtly pointed at the water glass, and Sophie immediately caught on, pretending to show concern as she said, Sis, you're overwhelmed with grief. You should take care of yourself. Let me get you some water. She immediately ran to fetch a glass of water while Susie quickly blocked my view. Xinyu, don't panic about this yet. We're here for you. As daughters of the Su family. How could we possibly stand by and do nothing? Just then, Sophie approached with a glass of water and said gently, Sis, have some warm water to soothe your throat. You're the only family we have left now. You mustn't let anything happen to you. Had I not known the truth, I would have been moved to tears with gratitude. I actually thought my sister-in-law had finally accepted me as family. I'm certain this water is drugged. Probably their backup plan, in my past life. I was too weak and passed out before they even needed this trick. My hands trembled as I took the glass, murmuring thanks through clenched teeth. Thank you, little sister, then slowly brought the cup to my lips. Through the reflection on the glass, I clearly saw the eager anticipation in the Su sisters' eyes and the eerie smiles playing on their lips. A cold laugh rose in my heart. Just then, my hand trembled. The cup fell with a sharp crack, shattering instantly on the floor. What do you mean? Sophie was furious, her brows shooting up as if she wanted to knock me out with one punch. This woman's a real cockroach. You just can't crush her spirit. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. My hands were shaking badly, looking pale and weak. I kept apologizing as Susie quickly pulled her sister back, afraid of arousing my suspicion. Just then, the sound of a vehicle echoed outside as a team of staff members entered. Hello, we're from the crematorium. Are these bodies on the floor the ones needing processing? With a grief-stricken face, I weakly nodded in response. Yes, these are their death certificates, issued by the emergency physician here. Normally Wu Daming should have left immediately after signing the death certificates, but he stubbornly stayed to cooperate with Sophie. No, they can't be taken away yet. Susie was frantic with urgency. The crematorium staff paused. Does this require police involvement, after all? These were 7 lives lost under unnatural circumstances. They couldn't afford to be careless. That's not the case. They truly took poison after the company went bankrupt. I'm their daughter. There's absolutely no issue here, Susie hastily added, fearing they might unnecessarily involve the police. The supervisor furrowed his brow. If there's truly no issue but you insist on keeping them here during peak summer, I'll have no choice but to call in the sanitation department. No. The Su sisters waved their hands frantically. One thing after another kept happening. Despite all their careful planning, everything was falling apart now. As the deceased's wife and daughter-in-law, I insist you take him away now. At worst, we can keep him at the crematorium until after the memorial service. Seeing the Su sisters on the verge of collapse, my words finally gave us a glimmer of hope. They exchanged a glance. thinking this temporary arrangement would suffice. As long as the cremation wasn't immediate, yes, we agreed to have it transported now. Hearing this, a subtle smirk curled at the corner of my lips. Once we reach the crematorium, where I know every procedure like the back of my hand, you'll have no say in what happens next. After obtaining consent from all family members, the crematorium staff wasted no time and immediately began moving the body. By the way, we'll need a direct family member to accompany the vehicle. There are still some formalities to complete. Once the body was loaded, the supervisor came over to inquire. Susie quickly volunteered to go, and to my surprise, no one argued. Instead, she took my hand and gave me thorough instructions. Elder sister, I'm entrusting Mom, Dad, and Sui to your care. Please also handle the arrangements for the memorial service. With that, she began weeping uncontrollably, covering her face with her hands. As the car was about to start, Suqian quickly broke free from my arm and rushed toward it. I discreetly stuck out my foot. In her haste, Suqian lost her balance and fell to the ground, immediately clutching her stomach and moaning loudly. Sis, what's wrong? Sophie panicked and rushed to help me up, but Susie was in too much pain to straighten her back. Oh no, could it be pregnancy complications? Get her to the hospital quick. Isn't there an ambulance right here? I feigned concern and shouted, Right, Wu Shuda, come lift my sister into the ambulance now. In the heat of the moment, Sophie forgot to hide my relationship with the doctor. Susie was so frantic that she grabbed Sophie's hand and frantically shot me meaningful glances. Sophie, could you go to the crematorium in my place? Don't worry, I'll handle things with Mom and Dad. That woman won't cause any trouble. Sophie wore a vicious smirk, thinking I was just some naive pushover she could manipulate at will. Watching the ambulance speed away, I curled my lips among the Sue sisters. Only Susan had any real brains. Sophie's nothing but a paper tiger, all bark and no bite, easy prey. 5. With the crematorium staff growing impatient, Sophie scrambled clumsily onto a hearse. I leisurely boarded the last vehicle. That was the car carrying my husband, Sui, gazing at his sleeping face. I couldn't help but admire how strikingly handsome he was. I'm an absolute sucker for good looks. Back then, I stood no chance against his deliberate flattery and courtship. Looking back now, the Su family had long been scheming to take the Shin family's wealth. I turned my gaze to the official seated in front. Hello, I'd like to arrange an early cremation for them. What's the procedure? I continued explaining to the official. With such a major incident, I'm concerned it might attract media attention. I assume your crematorium wouldn't want unnecessary disturbances either. The memorial service can always be held after the cremation. The manager nodded in understanding. Normally we'd schedule this for tomorrow, but given the circumstances, we can arrange it immediately through special procedures. I immediately nodded in comprehension. They all took poison, and I can't bear to see them in such a wretched state. Let's proceed with the special arrangements. Cost is no object. The supervisor's eyes lit up. This was a lucrative deal. He immediately called the manager, and sure enough, it was settled promptly. Madam Shen, here's what we'll do. We'll expedite the process. The cremation will begin in 1 hour at yen 15,000 per person. Does that work for you? An hour? Absolutely not. The longer we delay, the more complications arise. I made a snap decision, handing them a stack of cash while speaking. Here's the deal. I'll add 10k per person if you start immediately. You know my sister-in-law's in trouble, and I need to rush back to take care of her. The supervisor gritted his teeth when hearing the doubled price, knowing he'd pocketed some under-the-table money himself. Mrs. Shen, please wait. Let me discuss this with the manager again. I nodded calmly, completely confident they'd agree without hesitation. Sure enough, their approval came shortly after, and the furnace was fired up for them immediately. My heart was bursting with joy, yet I pointed at my husband with a grief-stricken face and said, he always took such pride in his appearance. Seeing him like this now, I know he wouldn't have wanted it. May he go first. The supervisor gave me a sympathetic glance. They must have been a loving couple. What a tragedy for the whole family to perish like this. Besides, such trivial matters meant nothing to him anyway. No problem. The hearse drove all the way to the suburban crematorium. Seeing the familiar house before me, I was overwhelmed with emotions. In this lifetime, I'll personally send Shani to hell. From now on, I'll live my own happy life and never stoop to carrying corpses in such places again. Knowing the crematorium procedures like the back of my hand, I headed straight for the incinerator. Meanwhile, Sophie was still naively following the crowd to complete paperwork. Watching Suyi's corpse being wheeled in slowly filled me with indescribable satisfaction. Suyi, you wanted to play dead. Well, I'll make that wish come true. I pretended to wipe the blood from his lips, only to notice his eyelids flutter slightly. The sedative must be wearing off. Good thing I acted in time, he'd have gotten up otherwise. I knew he was semi-conscious now, just alert enough to hear me. So I deliberately leaned close and whispered in his ear, "Sui, I know you're faking it. But don't worry, I'll personally send you off, you can rest assured." Just as I expected, I saw his fingers twitch slightly. Right now, his heart must be pierced by 1,000 arrows, just like mine was back then. Watching him slowly pushed into the crematorium, I felt an eerie, otherworldly sense of relief. Just as the staff member was about to press the button, frantic shouts erupted from outside the door. "No, wait, don't cremate yet." It was Sophie's voice. The door burst open with a loud bang, making everyone turn their heads in shock. Seizing the only chance, I swiftly pressed the button. "After coming this far, did you really think I'd give Sui any chance of resurrection? Stop, don't cremate him yet," Sophie screamed desperately, her hair disheveled and face drenched in sweat. All the staff stared at me in shock, oblivious to Sui's desperate thrashing inside the incinerator, his limbs flailing wildly before being instantly consumed by flames. The sight was utterly satisfying. Clearly the sedatives had worn off. Watching him burn alive while fully conscious was pure poetic justice. "No, brother." Sophie, standing before the crematorium, let out a heart-wrenching scream as she witnessed the scene. She struggled desperately toward the furnace, only to be restrained by the staff. "Miss Sue, our deepest condolences. We understand your grief, but you mustn't disrupt our work," the staff member said sternly. "No. My brother isn't dead yet. Stop this immediately." The staff member turned around but saw nothing, saying irritably, "Miss Sue, don't talk nonsense. We'd never cremate a living person." Just then, staggering footsteps echoed at the doorway. "Wait, my son's still alive." A disheveled old woman stumbled in, still groggy from sedation, barely able to keep her balance. A daytime corpse revival. Even the crematorium staff panicked. Screams erupting instantly. Staring into the roaring flames of the incinerator, the old woman collapsed to the ground. Then I turned to face myself with utter hatred in my eyes. "You wicked woman, you burned my son alive." 6. Mom, the doctors already issued a death certificate. "Your coming back to life can only be called a miracle," I explained through tears. To my great dismay, the old hag turned out to be surprisingly resilient. Any later and she'd have ended up in the crematorium. But perhaps it's for the best, forcing me to watch my own son die with my own eyes, to spend the rest of my life drowning in debt. That's a fate worse than death. "My son, what a cruel death you suffered, you vile woman." This was murder plain and simple. The old woman, already weakened by the drug, collapsed unconscious the moment she awoke to this devastating blow. Sophie panicked and immediately scooped up her mother, throwing the scene into complete chaos. This unforeseen complication made it impossible for the remaining people to proceed with the cremation, but none of that mattered to me anymore. I immediately called my father. "Dad, listen to me. The Sue family faked their deaths. They owe 100 million in loan shark debts and want to pin it on me. In my past life, it took me 10 years to figure this all out, but I won't let it happen again. They just borrowed tens of millions recently, planning to squander it themselves. Get someone to track the money and transfer it back immediately." My father was already a moderately successful local entrepreneur, but after I fell for that gold digger who swindled us out of a fortune, we wouldn't have ended up defaulting on those 100 million in loan sharks' debts. He snapped to attention the moment he heard me. Don't worry, I'll take care of this immediately." After entrusting the matter to my father, I waited calmly for the police to arrive. I needed to stall the entire Sue family during this time to prevent them from transferring funds. With lives at stake, the police arrived swiftly. Their investigation quickly exposed the Sue family's collective pretense of poisoning themselves. The evidence confirmed Sui was indeed burned alive, though the crematorium bore no responsibility as all procedures were properly followed. The situation was chaotic at the time, and no one could tell who actually pressed the button. Wushuda's collusion with the Sue family to fabricate false documents could no longer be concealed. The recording in my possession completely absolved me of any responsibility. "You bastard, why did you forge that death certificate? Why did you kill my husband? He was still so young," I shouted first, lunging at Wushuda and pounding his chest. "It wasn't me. Sophie made me do it. She forced me into this." Wushuda realized his medical career was over and prison awaited him. Glaring at Sophie with venomous hatred, he was determined to drag her down with him. "You bastard, this was all your rotten idea. If it weren't for you, our family would never have come up with this scheme. You got my brother killed." Sophie had always been dim-witted. She immediately started screaming obscenities, blabbing at everything without thinking. I stood there weeping pitifully, tears streaming down my face like pear blossoms in the rain. "It's all your fault. You killed my husband. I know all the tricks, framing people, playing the victim with sweet nothings. From start to finish, I was just a poor, clueless victim, completely manipulated by that whole family. As for me secretly paying extra to jump the queue, no one at the crematorium dared breathe a word, too busy covering their own backs. All members of the Su family were rescued except for Sui, but upon leaving the hospital, they'd face an even more humiliating predicament, a crushing 100 million in loan shark debts. Plus charges including conspiracy to fake death to evade responsibility and corporate accounting fraud. Su Qian, already suffering from pregnancy complications, was further distressed by these family troubles. Overwhelmed by rage and distress, she suffered a stillbirth. Wu Shudan not only had his medical license revoked but was also prosecuted for falsifying documents and attempted murder. Sophie was also imprisoned for her involvement in the conspiracy, when accountability was assessed afterward. Including myself, the company still had 7 debtors in total. I was the only one who never participated in any business operations, yet the court still assigned me 10 million in debt as a discretionary ruling. Meanwhile, Mr. Shen immediately recovered 50 million from Su Yi's secret account. The absurd part, that secret account was actually opened under my name. I didn't even need to change the paperwork. On the day of Su Yi's burial, a light drizzle fell. With some Su family members arrested and others ill, not a single soul came to see him off. Holding a black umbrella, I stood silently before his tombstone, my gaze calm and distant. No way, don't worry, Su-yi, I'll make good use of the remaining 40 million for you. A faint, satisfied smile gradually surfaced in my eyes. I'll find someone I love, have 2 adorable children, enjoy family happiness with my parents, and see all the beautiful sights this world has to offer. Staring at the grayscale photo on the tombstone, I whispered under my breath, you brought this upon yourself, every last bit of it. You reap what you sow. With a bitter laugh, I let go, allowing the black umbrella to be swept away by the wind, as if carrying off all the suffering from my past life. Those unspeakable years can no longer haunt my dreams. I tilted my head up as the storm cleared. A golden sunbeam caressed my flawless profile. With a radiant smile, I turned and hurried toward my waiting parents in the distance, where a brand new life was about to begin. Story 2. Zhou Yang rescued me when I was trafficked. Before my birth parents found me, he worked construction jobs to put me through college, but after the fake heiress appeared, Zhou Yang gradually fell for her. When she faked her death to disappear, he blamed me, convinced jealousy drove me to harm her, to avenge her. He went so far as to plot my death. After my brakes failed and I plunged off a cliff, I was reborn back to the day I was trafficked. This time, I chose to save myself by finding my parents in advance. But I never expected Zhou Yan had also been reborn. 1. Zhou Yan took me to the spot where we shared our first kiss, under the starry sky. He pressed the button on his remote control. Gone was the sincere gaze of his youth. He stared at me coldly through the car window, devoid of any emotion. Jiang Xian did nothing wrong. Why can't you tolerate her? Jiang Xian, the fake heiress, is also the female protagonist of this story. The moment he laid eyes on Jiang Xian, the story began. I was just a side character meant to highlight their tragic romance. At first I refused to believe our bond, forged through hardship with Zhou Yang, could be manipulated by the plot, until I caught them having a secret rendezvous in the garden. Jiang Xian's eyes reddened as she pounded his chest, choking back sobs. Why are you marrying Song Shiwei? There's no future for us anymore. Then, as if to prove something, Zhou Yang urgently pressed his lips against hers, until they spotted me standing in the corner. This was supposed to be our first day as a legally married couple. Later in the plot, Jiang Xian fakes her death and disappears for 3 years. When he couldn't find her anywhere, he immediately assumed I was behind it. I've told him countless times. Jiang Xian will be fine, she's the female lead after all, but he wouldn't believe it. After all, everyone knew the Jiang family's true heiress, despite her privileged background, was marrying some poor construction worker with a slight limp. How could she ever tolerate her beloved having someone else in his heart, and that someone being the fake heiress, no less? He'd already plotted my death, yet still asked that question I'd answered 1,000 times. Just seeking justification for his cruelty, needing to believe this was my fault, my deserved punishment. I waited silently for death, but he just clutched the remote, finger hovering over the button. Yet when he stripped my authority at work and confined me at home, he never hesitated. What are you waiting for? He had meticulously set the stage. Now with everything in place, success was within his grasp. I looked at him and asked one final question. Zhou Yang, do you remember that year when we were poorest? You fought in underground boxing matches just to pay my college tuition. That was when his leg got broken. When I found him, he was covered in blood but clutching a wad of cash, grinning foolishly at me. Wei Wei, don't cry. we've got money now, really, it doesn't hurt at all, he said, but our Wei looks beautiful even when she cries. That fool crippled his leg to pay for my college tuition, yet still cupped my face and promised, don't worry. I'll never make you cry again. The image of that penniless but passionate young man overlapped with this well-dressed, indifferent stranger before me. At this moment, Zhou Yang's eyes held emotions I couldn't decipher. Instead of answering, he pressed the ignition button. I understood this was his answer. As I fell off the cliff, his voice reached me. Song Shui, I saved your life. Now we're even. 2. I've finally given up all hope. The weightless sensation left me momentarily dazed. Yet my mind remained crystal clear. What if he hadn't saved me back then? Then I owe him nothing. I never thought I'd actually return to the day I was trafficked. This time, I chose to save myself by reporting to the police and finding my birth parents. Given a second chance at life, I'll live truly for myself this time. I never want to see Zhou Yang again. I need to stay away from Jiang Xian. I want to live my own life. Not being trapped by the plot, becoming this novel's puppet again. I was completely focused on my studies, believing life would always be this steady. Then on the first day of senior year, a transfer student joined our class. 3. Watching Zhou Yang on the platform, my entire body began trembling uncontrollably. Hi everyone, I'm Zhou Yang, like the rippling breeze, looking forward to growing and improving together with you all. After his introduction, his smiling eyes locked onto me without blinking. A chill ran down my spine. He meow, the girl sitting in front of me, turned around and whispered, Tisk tsk, rippling breeze, Wei, don't you think you two have matching couple names? The moment I finished speaking, the guy sleeping next to me suddenly woke up and kicked her chair. He meow shot him a glare. Pei, are you out of your mind? You woke me up, punk. He meow turned away grumbling. I glanced at Pei, who casually asked, can't take your eyes off him, huh, got a thing for pretty boys. Hasn't he been sleeping this whole time? How did you know I was looking at Zhou Yang? I ignored him when I heard the homeroom teacher say, you'll sit next to Jiang Xian. Zhou Yang paused by his seat, then turned to glance in my direction. Just as I finished changing, Pei leaned in with a raised eyebrow and asked, do you two know each other? I shook my head, but he clearly looked unconvinced. Men understand men best. Keep your distance from him. There's something off about the way he looks at you. When I didn't respond, Pei suddenly lowered his voice and added, and the way you look at him isn't right either. 4. My heart skipped a beat, but Pei wasn't wrong. Zhou Yang and I relied on each other for over a decade in our past lives. He held the most important place in my existence. I loved him, I depended on him. He was all I could see and think about. As the plot drew Zhou Yang and Jiang Xian closer together, I begged him countless times not to abandon me. What did Zhou Yang say? Oh, he said, you should be grateful it's just plot convenience. If the storyline hadn't forced us together, you'd never meet my dating standards. See, he refused to believe a word I said, yet used those very words to break my heart. Turns out supporting characters don't deserve love after all. But all my feelings for Zhou Yang vanished when he took my life with his own hands. What worries me more is whether Zhou Yang's arrival will disrupt my life. Just as I feared. He stopped me on my way back from the restroom. Excuse me, could you let me pass? But he stood frozen, his eyes gradually reddening. Song Shui, I finally found you. In that instant, my blood ran cold. Because my name is Jiang Shui, no one knows my former identity. There could only be one explanation. Zhou Yang had also been reborn. The realization sent chills down my spine, freezing the blood in my veins. What's he trying to do? Did he come back to this life just to avenge his destined heroine Jiang Xian? Steadying my voice, I met his gaze. Sorry, but my surname isn't Song. I turned to leave. Just as the person behind me was about to grab my wrist, Pei abruptly pulled me into his side with an arm around my shoulder. Classmate Zhou. Don't you think it's rather inappropriate to corner our Wei outside the restroom in broad daylight? Our Wei. Zhou Yang's face darkened, yet his eyes remained unreadable. Just catching up with an old friend. Pei raised an eyebrow. Old friend. I tugged his sleeve. That's bullshit. I don't know him. A flicker of surprise crossed Zhou Yang's eyes, yet he stood his ground against Pei without flinching. I tugged at Pei's sleeve, urging him to leave. Let's go. Don't bother with him. As we walked away, I caught Zhou Yang's gaze burning into our intertwined hands from my peripheral vision. 5. You really don't know him. Inside the pool hall, Pei still looked skeptical. Yeah, why would I lie to you? I pulled out my homework and started writing. Nobody believed I knew the plot, so I stopped mentioning it. After all, the rhythm of this life had been disrupted, bringing in many unfamiliar faces I'd never known before. Take Pei, for instance. I glanced over to see Pei flash me a wink, then he bent forward, eyes locked on the ball, and took his shot. Crack, he scored 2 goals. The girls watching from the sidelines were clapping. Their gazes lingered on him with undisguised admiration. My mind went blank for a second. He had grown so tall, his chiseled features radiating that bad boy charm girls go crazy for these days. I stood against the light. He handed me a bottle of water from the side with a smile. Why are you so indifferent? I put down my pen. He pinched my cheek. Since when do good students do homework here? I swatted his hand away. You're so annoying. Keep nagging, and I'm outta here. He quickly stopped me, begging like a puppy. Alright, my little princess. Keep writing your homework. I'll take you to eat after this game. I went back to my homework while he continued playing basketball. When I returned from the restroom, got cornered again. Are you that hottie's girlfriend? The tough-looking girls who were watching he play basketball earlier stood before me. I shook my head. You like him? No. Oh, then give me his contact info. I just turned on my phone. An angry voice came from behind me. Jiang Shui, you just sold me out like that. I'm screwed. I shut my eyes tight. He stepped out from the shadows into the light. Let's face it, handsome is handsome, even when angry. I don't exchange contacts with strangers. Besides, my heart already belongs to someone. Those 2 tough girls curled their lips and walked off after hearing that. I kept quiet and casually slipped my phone into my pocket. He didn't say anything, just slung my backpack over his shoulder. Wanna come over for dinner tonight? I gripped my phone tighter. No way, Jiang Shui. Could your disgusted look be any more obvious? Is my cooking really that terrible? I pressed my lips together. I need to study. He's face darkened like a burnt pot. Do I look like some good-for-nothing slacker to you? Yes, you scored 320 on last semester's finals, right? Think you can maintain that in next month's monthly exam? Jiang Shui, cut it out. My grades are more than twice as high as yours. I'm studying all the time. Doesn't that give you any sense of urgency? Fine, if you won't come to my place, at least let me walk you home. My driver's picking me up. He gritted his teeth. //6. The monthly exams arrived sooner than expected. Zhou Yang overtook me to claim first place. After school that day, he cornered me again. I couldn't give you the means to reach greater heights before, but this time I'll clear all obstacles for you. I shot him a glance. Does all obstacles include you? He remained silent. I turned to leave, but he grabbed my hand. Do you really hate me that much? Wasn't I making it obvious enough? I shook off his hand. I'll make it up to you, he said hoarsely under the tree, so you won't be bothered anymore. Just stay out of my sight, and I won't be. I showed no mercy. Zhou Yang's eyes reddened, his whole body trembling as he choked out. Did you want to get into X University? In my past life, I did want to. X University has brilliant sunshine and warm weather, but I don't want to go there in this lifetime. There's an endless stretch of ocean there, but it's far too cold. Stay away from Jiang Shui. I'm warning you. As I turned, I saw He emerge from the shadows. His gaze at Zhou Yang burned with fury and bone-chilling indifference. I rushed over and grabbed his arm. Let's go. No need to waste words on someone irrelevant. He glanced back at Zhou Yang before cheerfully slinging an arm around my shoulders. Then come have dinner at my place. Mom made braised ribs for you. Don't worry. I won't interfere this time. So it definitely won't be another kitchen disaster. Alright. What I didn't know was that Zhou Yang had been watching us the whole time, his hands clenched into fists. 7. After dinner, He walked me home again. Despite my protests, he clasped a watch onto my wrist. For you, princess. Promise me you'll always wear it. Okay. As I held out my hand to examine it, he immediately brought his wrist next to mine. It was the matching pair to mine, me, speechless with admiration. Huh. My taste is impeccable, I tell ya. Shut your trap already. After eating my food, this is how you treat me. That's just cold. Spit it out if you've got more to say. I'm almost there. I've got a hunch Zhou Yang's up to something shady. Watch your back around him. I chuckled. Oh, and you're the picture of safety. He slung his jacket over his shoulder with a roguish grin. We grew up together. You really need to question your page's character. The pale moonlight spilled over his hair and shoulders, softening his entire demeanor. But I've learned not to trust people so easily anymore. I never doubt sincerity. But sincerity is fleeting, love is a long journey, and decency is all we can count on, so I rained on his parade anyway. That's far from certain. There's no prohibition here. Jiang Shui, you can trust me wholeheartedly. I froze for a moment before looking up at him. If I'm just a supporting character in this world. When the time comes for you to choose, would you still believe in me? Without hesitation, he replied, we grew up together. Who else would I trust if not you? A beat passed, he added. Besides, you've never been anyone's supporting character. For some reason, my eyes unexpectedly grew warm. Hey, are you actually tearing up because of what I said? Bullshit, then give me a smile. Piss off. I got back a bit late after bickering with Pei He, but what I didn't expect was seeing someone I'd rather avoid when I opened the door, Zhou Yang. Only he and Jiang Xian remained in the vast living room. Seeing me return, Jiang Xian rose awkwardly, as if about to explain something. Zhou Yang beat her to it, his smile radiating calculated confidence. What a coincidence, Jiang Shui. He's absolutely doing this on purpose, if he's truly reborn. He should have known exactly what my relationship with Jiang Xian is. What the hell is he playing at? I wasn't sure how to do the school assignment, so I asked Zhou Yang for help. Sure way, don't get the wrong idea. I finished changing my shoes and chuckled. What wrong idea? That you two are dating. Jiang Xian's face instantly turned red. I continued, if that's the case, then that's wonderful. Zhou Yang gave me an inscrutable look, while Jiang Xian pursed her lips at my words. I couldn't fathom what Zhou Yang was scheming, but I sincerely hope those two stay glued together from now on. Stay out of my life. Stay out of my life. That's all there is to it. My mind is in complete chaos. The stress must have gotten to me today. I passed out the moment I lay down. When I opened my eyes, I saw someone silhouetted against the moonlight sitting by my bed. It's Zhou Yang. 8. Before I could scream, his hand clamped over my mouth. Don't be scared. I haven't done anything. I wrenched his hand away and flipped the light switch. Then came a stinging slap across his face. Zhou Yang. I could call the police for trespassing. His face twisted in pain. Do you really despise me this much? Shouldn't I? In my past life when I discovered he and Jiang Xian were growing closer behind my back, I grew suspicious, doubtful, letting my imagination run wild, picking fights with him. Because Zhou Yang and I knew each other too well, we knew exactly where to twist the knife for maximum pain. This only hastened the collapse of our relationship, so whenever I lost control, I'd pull out a hairpin and stab my palm relentlessly until blood covered my hand. I told Zhou Yang, but he looked at me like I was insane. These tricks only make me despise you more. Two people who once bared their souls to each other now stand in mutual distrust and disgust. I think no one understands that particular brand of agony better than I do, and yet he still has the audacity to ask why I detest him. If murder weren't illegal, I'd kill him right now to avenge my past life. Zhou Yang, I despise you. Every glance at you makes me sick. But Weiwei, I love you. This is absolutely insane. Even in my final moments of that past life, I still clung to the hope he'd remember our childhood bond. Yet he killed me. This lifetime, I won't even glance his way. Now he claims to love me. Pathetic. Stay away from that Pei He. His intentions toward you are anything but pure. At least I'm better than a hypocrite like you. Zhou Yang, mark my words. I'll never love you. Not in this lifetime or the next. I'll prove to you that I love you. Your love disgusts me. Get lost. 9. Zhou Yang didn't leave. Instead, he became Jiang Xian's private tutor. Feeling frustrated, I ended up studying at the cafe every day before heading home. His patience seemed to double after that day, though he didn't come looking for me. I knew he must be plotting something. When Pei He found out, he rushed back to pack my things and moved me to his place that very night. There's still your room at my place, and I'll keep you safe. From that day on, Pei He and I became inseparable. Zhou Yang's gaze toward us grew increasingly piercing. A vague unease settled over me. Sure enough, during recess while I was working on problems, he rushed over and grabbed me. Pei He and Zhou Yang are fighting. What is it? No idea what's going on. Go check it out quick. I dropped my pen and rushed outside. Pei He had Zhou Yang pinned to the ground, his eyes blazing red. From the corner of my eye, I thought I saw him notice me. He immediately let go of Zhou Yang and rushed to my side, his fierce gaze melting into puppy dog eyes. Bending over, he tugged at my sleeve with a pitiful look. He hit me. He froze for a second, but... No buts. Look, I'm hurt. Wah. He tilted his face closer to me, and only then did I notice the faint redness on his forehead. You wouldn't spot it unless you looked closely. Does it hurt? It does. Pei He's fluffy hair brushed against my neck as he murmured. I lost too much blood. Feeling dizzy. Hold me quick. Just as I turned to leave, Zhou Yang called out. I'm injured too. I shot him a glare. See a damn doctor then. Not my problem. Zhou Yang's face darkened ominously. 10. When we reached a secluded spot, I released Pei He. Enough. Drop the act. Pei He straightened up. Why were you fighting? Pei He pouted. Just didn't like the look of him. What? You blaming me now? I clapped. Serves him right. Pei He looked stunned, then quickly broke into a grin as he stared at me. Jiang Shui, you don't like people like Zhou Yang, do you? I frowned. Which eye of yours saw me liking him? He let out a relieved sigh, leaned closer with hands on my shoulders. and asked hesitantly, "Will you trust me without doubt from now on?" He glanced at him. I remembered his promise that night to always believe in me. With a smile, I answered as his expression grew increasingly panicked, "I will." 11. The school sports day arrived after the fight incident. This year, Pei signed up for the 100-meter dash. Zhou Yang also registered for the same event. Track and field events always get the adrenaline pumping. That day he deliberately wore new gear and shoved a towel and water bottle at me. "You've gotta come cheer for me." I wasn't really feeling it. Before I could speak, he started clowning around. Okay, I get it. I'm option E, the backup plan, the nobody cares loser. It's fine, I'm good. So what if you didn't come to cheer for me? You think I care? Actually, I do care. Why does everyone else get water except me? Am I not good enough? Whatever, this is pointless. I'll just go compete quietly by myself, pretend I was never here. Me, // with him in this state. How could I possibly not go? If I skip this time, he'll nag me about it for a whole month. Running into Zhou Yang here is unavoidable. Pei kept talking to me nonstop while waiting backstage. Wait for me at the finish line. Got it. Stay on the grass. Don't go on the track. I'd hate to see some blind runner knock you over. When I finish running, wipe my sweat for me. Okay, just wipe it. I frowned. It's just 100 meters. What sweat could there possibly be? Fine, no sweat at all. I knew it. You don't care about me one bit. All you care about are your damn math problems. Do you even know I have hyperhidrosis? I get it. You think I'm guilt-tripping you, that I crossed a line. I'll wipe it myself. Here we go again. I cut him off. Alright, I'll wipe it. Just shut up already. Pei strutted around like a triumphant peacock, swaying his head with immense satisfaction. Just wait. I'll win that gold medal for you. Afraid he'd go off the rails again, I quickly nodded. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed Zhou Yang's gaze fixed on us. His face was darker than a burnt pot. I couldn't be bothered to look at him and walked toward the finish line. Jiang Shui. I'd only gone about 10 meters when Pei called out to me. His voice drew cheers from some fangirls in the stands. They were chanting "Go, Pei." Pei ignored them and turned to me. "You still haven't cheered for me. With so many people rooting for him, isn't that enough?" Not wanting to be the center of attention, I reluctantly humored him. "Go get him, Pei." "What? I can't hear you." "On purpose. He's doing it on purpose." I sighed, then shouted loudly, "Pei, go for it." Only then did he seem satisfied, flashing me a smile before striking a flamboyant heart-shaped pose. The competition officially began. Pei and Zhou Yang were neck and neck, with the stands erupting in cheers. After all, they were the two most handsome guys in senior year. Just before reaching the finish line, I saw Zhou Yang closing in on Pei until he stuck out a foot to block the way. He took a tumble. I was horrified to see blood gushing from his knee, rushed over with a towel to wipe it. He just lifted his head with that goofy grin. "Told you I'd win the championship, didn't I, Pei? Are you out of your mind?" I was on the verge of tears from anger, yet he still had the nerve to say such things. A school medic came over and helped Pei up. I turned to Zhou Yang with unprecedented venom in my eyes. "Zhou Yang, you're despicable." Gasping for breath, he said, "I didn't trip him." I sneered coldly. He rushed over anxiously to explain. "So you don't believe me?" Pain flashed in his eyes as if I'd said something unforgivable, repeating, "For his sake, you distrust me." That line sounded familiar. I think I asked him the same question in my past life. This time, standing where he once stood, I threw his own words back at him. "I don't believe you." Then I ignored him and left with Pei. 12. He probably just got too close while running. Didn't seem intentional. Lying on the hospital bed, Pei explained, seeing the bandages wrapped around his legs. I couldn't contain my anger. "Couldn't you just dodge? He was only getting close to mess with you. I just wanted to win glory for you." "Alright, princess, don't be mad. Your big brother here is tough. I'll be back on my feet in no time." He reached out to pull me, but I swatted his hand away. To my surprise, he suddenly wrapped his arm around my waist and drew me close. "Stop pouting," he teased. "You look like a guinea pig." I struggled, only to end up with my face planted against his chest. As I pushed myself up, my hand brushed against something firm. "Don't touch that." Too late. I didn't just touch it, I gave it a squeeze. Solid abs. All that basketball practice paid off. Jiang Shui. Pei's face flushed crimson. I found it amusing. Someone usually so rebellious could be this bashful. Teasing him further, I leaned in with a grin. "Oh ho ho, what a blushing schoolboy. You'd better shut up. TSK, your ears are turning red too. Pei, those abs of yours aren't exactly rock hard, are they? Say one more word and you'll face the consequences." "What consequences? You gonna eat me alive?" With those two lame legs of yours, you think you can take me? He chuckled darkly, swiftly lifting me up with one hand while cradling the back of my head with the other. Their lips met. It felt like fireworks exploding in my mind. My mind went completely blank. Just as I was about to push him away, Pei he whispered just loud enough for us to hear. Zhou Yang's at the door. My back went rigid in an instant, yet my guard dropped all the same. Then Pei he launched his assault, claiming my lips before breaching past them with his tongue. My breath was completely stolen away. I didn't dare move a muscle. When he finally released me, I gasped for air like a fish breaking the water's surface. Pei he looked at me with restrained intensity, leaning against me as he murmured, "Stop panting." It suddenly dawned on me what he meant. Covering my mouth, I stayed perfectly still, yet my eyes betrayed me, drifting downward. The next instant, a pair of hands shielded my eyes. "Don't look." "Oh no, I'm tainted now." 13. Trying to avoid Pei he, who knew after his leg healed, it was like he'd unlocked some hidden potential. He's always strutting around like a peacock. When I tutor him, he conveniently forgets to wear a shirt after showering, just working out to show off those sculpted abs. I usually have only one comment about this: such indecent behavior for a man. He put on this wounded doe expression, often staring blankly at my lips. But time flew by. After catching me kissing Pei he, Zhou Yang never bothered me again. I heaved a sigh of relief. I hope to never have anything to do with him in this lifetime. Following midterms, the school organized an autumn hiking trip. I'm hopeless at sports. Pei he literally dragged me up the entire mountain. During free time, Jiang Xian, who'd never had issues with me before, came over. With tears in her eyes, she pleaded, "Please, don't take Zhou Yang from me." I was baffled and shocked. "What the hell are you talking about? Does she not realize I want nothing to do with them? I like him, but with you around, he'd never look my way. That's between you two." Last time around, she pulled the same act, playing the victim to guilt-trip me into giving up Zhou Yang, yet she clearly knew Zhou Yang's heart had already swayed toward her at that time. She just wanted to wash away the stigma of being labeled a homewrecker. I won't give either of them the time of day for the rest of my life. Her coming back to contact me again, absolutely ridiculous. I didn't want to waste time arguing with her. As I turned to leave, Jiang Xian grabbed my wrist. "Jiang Shui, you already have everything. Why are you still clinging to Zhou Yang? You have biological parents who adore you. Pei he who's crazy about you. Even his parents treat you like their own." "I've got nothing. Zhou Yang's all I have." Jiang Xian, are you out of your mind? First you refused to go back to your original family, so my parents took you in. They've always favored you over me. When I had to live with Pei he's family, did they even check on me? All these years, have I ever competed with you for anything? Because I knew how the story would go. I could never win against her. That's why I never fought back. If you liked Zhou Yang, go chase him yourself. What's that got to do with me? Let me make this crystal clear. I will never have feelings for Zhou Yang. Are we done here? I looked up to see Zhou Yang standing not far away, glaring at me with clenched teeth and bloodshot eyes. He must have heard. Good that he did. I tried shaking off Jiang Xian's grip, but she held on tight. In our struggle, we lost footing and tumbled down the slope together. 14. Thank goodness, the tree broke our fall. We dangled from the branch in tandem. Zhou Yang's face appeared above us. "Jiang Shui, he's calling for me," like a wounded beast in agony and despair. For a fleeting moment, it took me back to the last words he ever said to me in our past life. He said he regretted saving me, that we're even now. "Zhou Yang, save me." Tears streamed down Jiangxin's face. "I'm so sick of these forced either-or scenarios. I don't need anyone to save me. Zhou Yang, I can't hold on much longer. I'm so scared." Jiang Xian kept sobbing endlessly. I looked down and let go of the branch the moment I saw Zhou Yang reaching out. As I fell, I heard Zhou Yang's heart-wrenching scream, "Wei Wei, no." How strange. Why on earth is he crying? How strange. Did I just see him lunge forward? My back hit the ground hard, forcing out a pained grunt. Fortunately, I regained my composure quickly. I don't need his rescue. I can save myself just fine. The watch Pei he gave me still has a signal, which means I can find my way. Sitting where I was, I studied it for a while, found the compass, and was about to set off. A gust of wind swept by, and suddenly a shadow lunged at me. It's Pei he. 15. He clung to me desperately. Heavy breathing filled my ears. Then came a choked sob. "Jiang Shui." His tears trickled down my neck, yet he held me tighter, whispering in a voice laced with desperation, "I'm so scared, terrified of losing you again." I froze. Again, what did he mean by that? Pei he never answered my question. After what felt like forever, they finally let go and gave me a thorough once-over. "Are you hurt anywhere?" I shook my head. I saw the platform was covered with dry leaves, looked soft enough to cushion the fall. don't ever pull a stunt like that again, understood? I could tell they were worried about me, nodded and asked, how did you find me? That was quick. He crouched by my feet and said, come up here, I can walk. Stop being stubborn, he commanded. It was Pei who was being the most obstinate right then. Unable to resist him, I ended up clinging to his back. His shoulders were broad, his back warm and comforting. As we descended the mountain, he admitted, call me sneaky if you want, there's a tracker in the watch. I froze for a moment. He continued, I'm terrified of not being able to find you in time. And I know I shouldn't keep things from you, but what if something like today happens again? Jiang Shuwei, I feel so insecure, I'm terrified, do you trust me? Only then did I understand what he meant when he asked me that day, would you stand firm in believing me? With a sigh, I wrapped my arms around his neck and leaned against him. Pei, I'm fine, I won't let anything happen to you. A sudden warmth flooded my heart as I told him, I trust you, I'll keep it with me, Wei, I'll always protect you, I know. From the very first day we met, Pei has been protecting me. How strange, this person never existed in the storyline I remembered from my past life, yet in this lifetime, he appeared beyond the script, standing by my side whenever I was alone. I sniffled and whispered, thank you, Pei. 16, when we finally rejoined the main group, we learned Zhou Yang had jumped from that great height to save me, and broken his leg in the fall. He'd already been rescued. Jiang Xian was also slightly injured and hospitalized. Pei glanced at me cautiously after finding out. Are you going to see them? I shook my head and squeezed his hand. You carried me all that way to save me. I'm not that ungrateful. I know who really matters. Pei stared at me for a long moment before scooping me up like an overexcited puppy. Absolutely delighted, I asked him, I'm still curious. Why do you have such a grudge against Zhou Yang? He's been targeting Zhou Yang since the moment he arrived, but according to the plot, there shouldn't be any bad blood between them. Pei let out a cold laugh. I just can't stand scumbags. Before I could react, he pulled me outside. You must be bored staying in. It's snowing. Let me take you to build a snowman. After we built the snowman, Pei held my hand in his pocket again and took me to buy hot milk tea. While waiting for him, Zhou Yang showed up instead. With a slight limp, he sat down across from me. I ignored him. He started talking unprompted. Wei, do you know what went through my mind when I saw you fall? I didn't respond to him. He continued, in that moment, my breath caught in my throat. I felt a fear like never before, terrified you'd vanish from my life again. I can't even bring myself to pretend anymore. But Zhou Yang, you're also the one who pushed me toward death. He looked at me with piercing anguish in his eyes, with red-rimmed eyes and a choked voice. I know I was wrong. I won't forgive you. So you'd rather jump than let me save you. Do you really feel nothing for me anymore? Feelings, I find it ridiculous. Should I have any? Back when we only had each other, you lost a leg for me. It broke my heart. Now you're trying to guilt-trip me with this new injury. It just makes me sick. The light in his eyes died instantly as he forced a bitter smile. You don't love me at all anymore, do you? I said firmly, no, I don't. Wei, just give me one more chance. Let me win you back properly. I'll make it up to you. No, but I love you. It's always been you, I said. Belated affection is cheaper than weeds. As he tried to speak again, I stood up and walked toward Pei, took the milk tea from his hand, turned back and told him, if you truly want to make amends, don't disturb me before the college entrance exams. Zhou Yang clenched her teeth, tears streaming down her cheeks. Pei held my hand and said, let's go. Mom made your favorite soup. I'm having 2 bowls. You'll get fat. You called me fat. I love you just the way you are. I can carry you anyway. 17. Without Zhou Yang's mischief, the latter half of senior year flew by. With my tutoring, Pei's grades gradually improved. Those 2 days passed as quickly as a cicada's song overhead. Just a couple of chirps, and they were gone. Stepping out of the classroom, Zhou Yang reappeared in the hallway. Wei, he said with a smile, though I couldn't shake a faint unease. Congratulations. This time, you've lived a different life. What do you mean? He gazed at the clouds and said, you're the morning sun, I'm the twilight glow. Together through dawn and dusk, we can walk into daylight. We've got all the time in the world. Zhou Yang, are you deaf or something? I snapped, words tumbling out. Why can't you let go of the past? I told you I don't like you anymore, and I never will, no matter how many times you try. Just leave me alone, will you? So, you like someone like Pei? Yes, I like Pei. Not to get back at you, not to disgust you. I just genuinely like him. What if he's also being controlled by the plot? Do you really believe he'd choose you without hesitation? My heart sank. Don't you see? You two now are just like us back then, childhood sweethearts. But after the college entrance exams, the story takes a turn. Pei will fall for someone else, just like I did. I swallowed hard. Zhou Yang seized the moment to move closer. That's why this lifetime's reset exists. To fix the storyline, we're the ones who truly belong together. He thought I'd waver, that his charm would work on me. Pei came up from behind him and pulled me into a tight embrace. Wei Wei will always be the leading lady in my story, Zhou Yang. Not everyone is as disgusting as you, making endless excuses to justify their change of heart. Zhou Yang shuddered and froze in place. 18. Pei and I left. You, don't tell me Pei got reincarnated too, he said. Haven't you always asked me whether I'd believe you if you were the supporting female character? My answer is, you're not a supporting role. You're the female lead in Pei's world. Even if we relive this a million times, childhood sweethearts, never betraying each other, all those doubts and confusion were swept away by the wind in an instant. I trust Pei, just as he always trusts me. 19. We went on a 2-week vacation. On a whim, I dragged him to the art exhibition that day. While Pei went to buy water, I spotted someone I never wanted to see again, Zhou Yang. Before I could escape, a white mist engulfed me, and everything went black. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself tied to the bed. Standing by my bedside was Zhou Yang. Seeing me awake, he smiled, then he took my hair tie from his wrist and kissed it creepily. Wei Wei, let's go back to how we were before. Okay, damn it, Zhou Yang, stop disgusting me. Wasn't Jiang Xian the one you loved? Didn't you kill me for his sake? What's with this sudden act of devotion now? I'll never like you, let alone love you. I've said this countless times, but it's like talking to a brick wall. Zhou Yang frowned slightly. If I hurt like you do, would you finally look my way? He had me tied up and completely immobilized. If that's the case, you'd forgive me, wouldn't you? He pulled a dagger from his side pocket. My eyes widened in shock. He kissed my cheek and whispered soothingly, I know you're hurting, and it's all my fault. The plot was controlling me. Wei Wei, it's always been you I love. I wish I could tear my heart out to show you. I was certain he'd lost his mind. Are you out of your mind? Yes, completely out of my mind. Do you know, the moment you fell off that cliff, something awakened in me. I could have killed myself right then. With that, he drew a blade across his palm, and blood immediately welled up. I stared at him in horror. Zhou Yang, don't do this. I wasn't afraid he'd hurt himself. I was afraid he'd hurt me. Zhou Yang muttered to himself. This was the hand that pressed the detonator in our past life. I'm giving it back to you. I frowned. Scanning every corner of the house, he kept murmuring, I searched everywhere for you, scoured the entire mountain, but found no trace. So that was the sea below. I kept thinking how freezing that water must be for someone who hates the cold like you. I locked myself in that room, and then I destroyed everything. I ruined Jiangxin. I wrecked the company. Then I came to join you. My Wei Wei hates pain the most, so I jumped from the exact same spot. Do you know what I was thinking as I fell? He smiled faintly. I thought, thank God the last shred of my sanity stopped me from signing, otherwise, I wouldn't even be able to find you down there. Wei Wei, in our past life, you were still my wife. I said mercilessly. No, I wasn't. Heaven gave me this second chance because it couldn't bear to watch. Why the reset? Zhou Yang. Because you didn't deserve me. He cut me off. No, because I refused to live by their script. I ruined the storyline, so they had to reboot this world. Wei Wei. Even in this reincarnated life, I remain the male lead of this world, and whoever the male lead chooses to love becomes the female lead. Zhou Yang's lips curled into a smirk, radiating absolute confidence. Let's stay here forever, shall we? Suddenly I remembered our past life, how he refused to sign the papers yet wouldn't let me go, stripping me of corporate authority before confining me to house arrest. In our previous life he warned, Wei Wei, don't test my patience, I begged him. Just let me go. I've already signed the divorce papers. What more do you want? He said nothing, just stared at me in silence. After a long pause, he stood up to leave. You'll stay right here. Later, he visited me daily, recounting the past, gradually gaining my trust, until he finally lured me out. You killed me again. What now? Trying the same old trick again. My phone's ringing again. It's Pei, 20. The screen shows he's already called me multiple times, but obviously, Zhou Yang wouldn't answer. He picked up my phone and glanced at it. He cares about you deeply, yet according to the plot, he's supposed to fall for Jiang Xian. After a moment's thought, he lowered his eyes and smiled. Perfect. The whole point of reliving this life was to fix the storyline. Wei Wei, this time I'll stand firm in choosing you. It's too late, Zhou Yang. I don't love you anymore. I said it calmly, as if discussing someone else's affair. What's the point of clinging to someone who doesn't have you in their heart? Zhou Yang's expression was resolute. It matters. At least this way you're still by my side. One day, you'll forget Pei. We'll have a happy future together. I stared at him expressionlessly. Are you going to imprison me again like in our past life? Zhou Yang didn't answer, simply drawing back the curtains. The blinding sunlight streamed in, making my eyes water. He turned to stare at me. No one will ever find us here. I built this secluded paradise just for us, so that's what he was up to during those 6 months of quiet. I'm in no hurry, Wei. We have all the time in the world. Zhou Yang, what exactly do you want from me? I don't understand. I already followed his script in my past life, yet he's still unsatisfied. I've completely fallen out of love with him in this lifetime, yet he's desperately proclaiming his love for me. Is he out of his mind? It's always been you that I wanted. As he leaned in to kiss me, I turned my face away. The kiss landed on the cheek. It lost its warmth all too soon. 21 days have passed, yet I remain bound hand and foot. All I heard was the sound of waves. The occasional roar of passing ships still echoed. When I refused to eat, Zhou Yang wasn't angry. Instead, he amusedly pried my mouth open to feed me. He patiently recounted our past together, or rather, to be precise, our past life. I've almost completely forgotten. When speaking from the heart, his eyes would glisten with emotion, apologizing to me while simultaneously hurting himself. 1 cut, 2 cuts, 3 cuts, my palms are already covered with scars. He's acting like a madman. Did it hurt this much when you stabbed your palm with that hairpin? I stayed silent, just staring out the window. It's all in the past. I don't want to dwell on it. I just want to move forward. Zhou Yang, don't get stuck in the past. Just like in my past life, stuck in the past. Watching Zhou Yang fall for Jiang Xian step by step and choose her, still refusing to let go, he asked me, I'm feeling what you feel. Are you any happier now? I think I am happy, this lifetime. It's Zhou Yang's turn to watch me fall for Pei He day by day and choose him instead. If he had to relive my past life, what could be more agonizing than watching the one you love fall for someone else with full awareness? If you want me to be happy, let me go. I can't. Wei, let's stay like this forever. Okay, I'll love you always. No, Zhou Yang, stop your hypocritical act. You never loved me, you just hated being controlled. Despised that period when others dictated your life. You arrogantly think taking this punishment upon yourself could atone for your sins. It's always about your feelings. You never truly chose me, never trusted me. This act, just your pathetic inability to stomach being the betrayer. That's not true. Zhou Yang's eyes bulged with veins, his face contorted in agony, like a beast on the verge of frenzy. He bared his teeth. You promised we'd have many children, retreat to the mountains, live just for us two. Let me make it happen, please. Their body pressed down on me. The damp, clammy sensation made me nauseous. Their hands slipped beneath the hem of my clothes. My entire body trembled uncontrollably as I struggled with all my might, but they pinned my wrists down, whispering, we used to be so passionately entangled. Just as his lips were about to touch mine, I squeezed my eyes shut and screamed in desperation, Pei He, where the hell have you been all these days? At that very moment, the door burst open from outside. There stood Pei He, his eyes burning with murderous intent. Like lightning, he dashed over, yanked Zhou Yang away and threw a punch. The two men, roughly equal in height and build, quickly grappled with each other. As they fought fiercely, I called out from the sidelines, Pei He, watch out. Out of nowhere, Zhou Yang exploded like a firecracker and lunged back from the ground. Pei He was at a disadvantage. I was frantic. Why wouldn't this idiot call the police? No wonder he only scored 300 points. What a moron. At the critical moment, Zhou Yang somehow produced a gun and pressed it against Pei He's temple. No, my eyes widened in terror like never before. Having stared death in the face once, I knew that desperate moment all too well. Despair, helplessness, the howling wind, the icy water. Pei He is innocent. He shouldn't have to pay this price for what happened between me and Zhou Yang. Zhou Yang, have you lost your mind, Wei? I've been insane since the day you left my world, and now you're pitying this man. Do you have any idea how much that hurts me? Zhou Yang, you're the one who said we're even. I owe you nothing now. His face contorted as he glared at Pei He. A gunshot rang out. I shut my eyes in despair. Why can't I break free from Zhou Yang even in this second life? Why, still bound by the script's control, tears streamed uncontrollably from my eyes. In that moment, my heart felt utterly dead. Hey. Open your eyes. See, I'm still here. Why the long face like you're mourning a dead husband? It was Bai He's voice. As I opened my eyes, that roguish face came vividly into view. How can you still crack jokes at a time like this? I wanted to hug him, but soon I saw Zhou Yang struggling to his feet, blood streaming from the gunshot wound in his arm. The officers at the entrance finally arrived, yet Zhou Yang swiftly grabbed the gun with his other hand, the moment he raised it. I thought he'd aim at Pei He, but it was unexpected. He rushed to the window, eyes filled with despair. In the most dangerous moment, you thought of others, not me. I looked at him as the dawn painted the sky outside. The sun rose over the sea, casting shimmering rays. Zhou Yang stood against the light, his entire body shrouded in shadows. Wei Wei, is the ocean water cold? He gave me his final smile. Wei Wei, I promised I'd never make you cry again. I kept my word. Then, the gunshot rang out. He plunged into the sea. 22. Life returned to normal. After that day, it was Jiang Xian who recovered Zhou Yang's body. She moved out of the Jiang residence. I promised to protect him with all my heart. As she was leaving, she said to me, "You know we're in a book, don't you?" I froze for a moment before nodding. So she'd become self-aware too. I'm sorry for stealing him from you in our past life. I couldn't help loving him. You probably thought this life would follow some script, didn't you? No, it's gone. The moment I woke up, I knew the world had reset. I naively believed that even in this reboot, Zhou Yang and I were destined, but I've lost my protagonist's halo, so he never even glanced my way. Tutoring me was just his excuse to get closer to you. It's like he's never once chosen me of his own will. Jiang Shui, sometimes I wonder, what's so special about you that he'd give his life for it? She wiped her tears. Haven't I been good to him? Why won't he even glance at me in this lifetime? I pressed my lips together. Just like why I refused to let go in my past life, that was the purest love of our youth, untainted by anything else, simply because I loved you. As we grow older, love comes with so many strings attached that it becomes hard to believe in. Zhou Yang and I weathered countless days and nights together, growing into adults through shared hardships. Perhaps this feeling truly is unforgettable, Jiang Xian finally said. I'll take good care of him. If there's another life, let's never meet again. After she left, he came out and held me in his arms. If it hurts, just let it out. I shook my head. I didn't feel like crying, just this hollow ache. Finally at peace, my feud with Zhou Yang has finally come to an end. Wrapping my arms around Peihi's waist, I looked up at him. If the plot ever forces you to fall for someone else, promise you'll tell me right away. He pinched my cheek. Do I look like someone who can be controlled? Jiang Shui, you're not thinking of using me and then dumping me, are you? Let me tell you, I won't let you off that easy. I was furious. What do you mean by using you? He grabbed my hand and pressed it against his abs. Come on, feel them again. Who was it that said they weren't hard enough last time? You pervert. Humph, you haven't seen how much worse I can be. Even as he said this, he gently kissed my forehead and whispered, Jiang Shui, you'll always be the destined heroine in Peihi's story. Even if the whole world betrays you, I'll stand by your side against them all. I pouted, though my eyes still sparkled with joy, and asked that age-old question everyone loves to ask, do you love me? This time, he answered me with a lingering kiss. It escalated until I could barely stand straight. I protested, Peihi, you're taking advantage of me. Holding me in his arms with a satisfied smile, he murmured, you've no idea how long I've waited for this day. It feels like 2 lifetimes combined. Outside the window, the moon shone bright amidst a sea of stars. Our story has only just begun. End of main story. Peihi's side story. How ridiculous. I woke up one day with this random plotline stuck in my head. Turns out I might just be the supporting male lead in some novel. This is insane. Someone like me, with this kind of backstory, is only a side character. It actually told me to get close to someone named Jiang Xian, and then ordered me to frame a girl called Jiang Shui. What kind of moron came up with this plot? I'm a living person. She never wronged me. Why should I harm her? That voice in my head keeps warning me, urging me to find Jiang Xian and create obstacles for someone named Zhou Yang. This is getting even more absurd. Why should I do what it says? I refuse. My life is mine to control. No one gets to call the shots. But ever since that day, I kept running into that girl named Jiang Shui. The voice claimed she was just a supporting character in this world, doomed to a tragic ending in the story. I'd even teach her a brutal lesson to avenge Jiang Xian. I wish I could teach this ridiculous plot a lesson. Jiang Shui didn't do anything wrong, did she? Before I knew it, I found myself watching her. The way she'd space out during class, laughing joyfully with classmates, the playful pout of a young girl, wearing worries too heavy for her years. Time slips by as I watch her life unfold like some creep. How can someone be this stupid? Is she an idiot? Can't she see Zhou Yang has already changed his heart? She was crying her heart out. So damn annoying. I don't want to deal with this. Yet my feet refuse to move. One thought burns fiercely in my mind. Don't let her cry. So I changed into the frog mascot costume. Goddamn genius move. Here I am, the illustrious young master of the Pei family, wearing this ridiculous outfit. As I knelt before her, her beautiful eyes welled up with tears, her long lashes glistening like frost. She said, I don't have cash. Are you selling balloons? I can scan the QR code to pay. How clueless. Can't you tell I'm just trying to cheer her up? Alright. Can't really tell. I shook my head and did a ridiculous, wiggly dance in front of her. She looked even more confused, pulling out her phone. I didn't order a show, but since you danced, should I tip you? Unbelievable. You're giving me a tip. Do I look like a waiter to you? Fine, I'll be direct. This dummy just doesn't get what I'm trying to do. So, I hugged her. She's so soft and tiny. My heart was pounding so hard. For a moment I truly believed I was the happiest man alive. Wait. Getting this excited over a simple hug. Damn, am I really that lovesick? She seemed to finally understand me. After a brief pause, tears welled up again as she whispered, "Thank you, you want me to be happy, don't you?" "I am happy, liar." I could feel her warm tears trickling down my neck, ice cold. A sudden surge of needle-like pain pierced through my heart, an overwhelming urge to pull her into my very being. She said, "You must be a merchant of joy, aren't you? I feel so much better now." She forced a smile at me. "Thank you, frog hero, you're such a kind soul." It suddenly struck me again, only someone like Pei could come up with this brilliant way to comfort someone. I often trailed behind her, taking the same electives, showing up at the same cafe, feeding the same stray cats, and walking her home from a distance. He reappeared by her side when she was upset, behaving in a way that felt unfamiliar to her. Just looking at her seemed to fill the void in my heart. A voice kept warning me, "Alert, alert, plot deviation detected. Pei, if you don't fall for Jiang Xian soon, you'll face consequences." Ha, as if I'd be scared. "Bring it on then," I defiantly yelled at the voice. "I don't know what you are, but you can't control my life. Who I love is my choice, my freedom. Why should I obey your arrangements?" This voice punished me severely, often leaving me in excruciating pain. But I was determined to get close to Jiang Shui, because it's her that I love. Even if she doesn't know I exist, but so what? Love takes many forms, letting go is one of them. When my buddy found out what I'd been doing, he gasped, "Holy shit, a certified love-struck fool was right under my nose this whole time." I punched his arm. "Damn it, I'm not some lovesick puppy, but," sniffles, "I think I want more than this. I want Jiang Shui to be mine." That day I finally mustered the courage to text her, asking her out and confessing my feelings, saying I'd wait for her. But it was too late. She never replied. Then news broke that the Jiang heiress had crashed her car while street racing in the mountains. Her body still hadn't been recovered from the cliff fall. The rose slipped from my hand without me noticing. I stared blankly at the news. I tried to make a sound, but nothing came out. A buzzing filled my head, and when I wiped my face, I realized tears were streaming down. Are supporting male and female characters forever doomed to tragic endings? No. I refused to believe that. I rushed to that cliff, threatening with my life, confronting that voice, demanding it return my loved one, until all sound faded into silence, until the first light of dawn tinged the sky. A voice echoed, "If given another chance, could you rewrite the ending?" I asked, "What ending?" "The ending where Jiang Shui stays with you." "No, that's not the ending I want." "Then what do you want?" I said, "I want her to be happy. I want her to break free from the script's control and have the right to choose her own path, even if she doesn't end up with me in the end." "What's the point?" I smiled. "That is the point. I can't believe I actually got a second chance at life. This time, I met her before Zhou Yang could. I gave her all the protection within my power. And this time, beyond the script's expectations, Jiang Shui and I fell in love. She chose me of her own accord." I thought, Pei, you lucky bastard must have moved heaven itself. That day she asked me, if I were just a supporting character in this world, would you still believe in me? "I do, the girl I grew up with. If I can't trust her, who can I trust?" she said. "If the plot ever forces you to fall for someone else, promise you'll tell me right away." I held her tighter. Little did she know, I'd already fought against fate in my past life. I never believe in scripts, I only trust my own heart. Besides, she's no supporting character. So I kissed her forehead and whispered tenderly, "You'll always be the destined heroine in my story, Pei. Even if the whole world betrays you, I'll stand by your side against the world." Her eyes brimmed with love as she still asked, "Do you love me?" How could I express my love for her? Then it struck me, a kiss might be the shortcut, far better than rambling words. So let heaven and earth be our matchmakers, with the stars and moon as witnesses. Let one kiss stand in for eternity. I, Pei, will love Jiang Shui forever. Zhou Yang's side story. When Wei Wei fell off the cliff, I suddenly awakened. Bizarre plotlines flooded into my mind out of nowhere. It seems I'm the male lead in some novel, but Jiang Xian is my destined soulmate. Memories with Jiang Shui keep flashing through my mind, her vulnerability, her coquettishness, her pitiful state, her anger, her love for me, her disappointment. Her emotions shift with my attitude, vibrant and beautiful, Before college, those lean years when we only had each other were tough yet sweet, believing the darkest hour is just before dawn, she said to me then, "Jo Young, let's pinky promise. We'll stay together forever." I kissed her forehead, silently grateful that such a wonderful girl was my blessing. When I broke my leg, she collapsed onto me sobbing, "Jo Young, why are you so reckless? All I want is for you to be safe. Please don't hurt yourself because of me." I just laughed. How could this possibly count as self-harm? I want to give Weiwei all the finest things this world has to offer. If others have it, my girl deserves it too, she said. "Jo Young, I'm scared. I'm truly terrified of losing you." Her big eyes brimmed with tears, reflecting nothing but my image. I wiped her tears and gently pinched her cheek. "Weiwei, I'm not in pain." She clung to me tightly, voice choked with sobs. "We'll make it, Jo Young. I'll apply for financial aid for college, get a part-time job, study hard. I just beg you, be kinder to yourself. You've given me enough love. I need you to be okay too." At that moment I thought, how could this love ever be enough? My girl deserves nothing but the finest things this world can offer. So I measured her finger and made a promise. "It won't be long before I put the biggest diamond ring right here on your finger." She laughed through her tears, nodding. He kissed my lips. "Jo Young, as long as it's you, I'd say yes to any ring." Eventually, we did become wealthy. Turned out she was the true heiress of the Jiang family. Just when she thought we could finally be happy together, something unexpected happened. "I think I'm falling for Jiang Xian. It feels strange. Like two people are tearing me apart from within." One voice says, "No, you're in love with Jiang Shuwei." One voice insists, "No, your destiny lies in the river's heart." My heart is beyond my control now. My scales tip toward the river's embrace. My mind is on the verge of explosion. It felt like countless threads were constricting me, leaving me gasping for air, like a walking corpse. I mechanically went to Jiangxin to beg for the pills that could calm me down. Weiwei and I began fighting, wounding each other with the cruelest words. Then one day, she stopped arguing with me altogether. I watched her stab her own palm viciously with a hairpin. Her hand was drenched in blood. How long had she been doing this? I had no idea, she said. "Jo Young, we're being controlled by the plot. I need to calm down." At first I thought it was absurd, but then I remembered that irresistible urge to approach Jiang Xian whenever I saw her. "Jo Young, I can't fight with you. I'm afraid we'll drift further apart." Her hair was disheveled, her face pallid, her lips devoid of color. It suddenly hit me that we hadn't spent time together in ages. "Jo Young, do you trust me? I was such an asshole." I told her she was being delusional. Then, I walked toward the river's center. The sight of her sent a sharp pang through my heart. I feel like I'm forgetting things. Eventually, I began losing memories of those days Jiang Shuwei and I shared through thick and thin, clinging to each other for survival, until Jiang Xian suddenly vanished. I realized my calming pill was gone. My head was splitting with pain, so I went to find Jiang Shuwei. She just gave me a bitter smile. "Jo Young, it wasn't me. So you really don't trust me anymore, do you?" I said yes, and begged her to give Jiang Xian back to me. Otherwise my heart would explode. "I'm completely losing control." She spoke slowly, pleading in her voice. "Can you give me back the Jo Young I used to know?" "What is it?" Sniffling, she said to me as if making a final decision. "Jo Young, I'm letting you go." Sometimes I wonder, just how desperate must she have been to say those words to me that day. Her smile held no warmth as she said in an eerily calm voice, "Thank you for standing by me during those dark days. I'm letting go now." She produced the divorce papers and met my gaze. "Had it not been for the script, would you have ever fallen for me?" An unprecedented restlessness seized me, worse than the agony of being separated from Jiang Xian. The words tumbled out before I could stop them. "If the plot hadn't forced us together, you'd never have met my standards for a partner." A bitter smile tugged at her lips as she closed her eyes, tears streaming down her face. "I get it now. I'm the only one still trapped in the past. I didn't sign." Something in my mind seemed to be puppeteering me, drawing her in with feigned closeness, earning her trust, then luring her to the spot of our first kiss. She didn't cry or make a fuss, as if she already knew what I was about to do. In the end, she asked if I still remembered fighting in underground matches to pay her tuition. It felt like something exploded in my head again. Our memories kept flashing before my eyes. I didn't want to press that button, but I did. In the end, I killed her with my own hands. When that face finally faded from sight, I realized my cheeks were already drenched in tears. He'd already plotted my death, yet still asked that question I'd answered 1,000 times. No one answered anymore. How strange. The taut string inside me suddenly snapped, and countless memories came flooding back. I seem to have awakened, but it's far too late. She'll never forgive me. I know she won't see me again, not even in the afterlife. But thankfully, We never divorced. Does that mean I still have a chance to stay bound to her? Spending lifetimes making amends. Never thought I'd actually get a second chance. This time I actually saw her walk into another man's arms. Does it hurt? Like hell? Was she in this much pain before too? I'm such an asshole. Why did it take me so long to wake up? Until she said, no, it's you who didn't trust me, who wavered in choosing me. Your heart wandered. Yes, Zhou Yang. I'm the biggest fool in the world. How laughable. Over a decade of love undone by a newcomer in mere months. Her resentment toward me is justified. I wanted to make things right, but ended up hurting her the most. Now she won't even look my way. The moment I picked up the gun, a shrill voice screamed inside my head, warning, warning, male protagonist exhibits suicidal tendencies. Initiate code red protocol. Those invisible hands clamped down on mine again with crushing force. With every ounce of strength, I finally pulled the trigger. Beep beep beep. Protagonist's suicide triggers world collapse, yet the world didn't end, for I traded my very soul to grant her eternal peace and happiness, so she'd remember neither the me from past lives, nor the me from this existence. All she remembered was being loved. Before my soul faded, I took one last look at her. I said, Wei Wei, I promised I'd never make you cry again, and I kept that promise. The end. Story 2. At the age of 7, my brother was busy chasing after the poor student, which led to me being abducted. By the time I finally made it back home, the poor student had already become the fake heiress. She was dressed in an expensive princess dress, pinching her nose and looking at me with disdain. She smells so bad. Could she have some contagious disease? Just like that, the way my parents looked at me changed. And my brother's face was full of disgust. Why did you come back to disturb our lives? That's when I found out the fake heiress was also my sister-in-law. In the end, I was tortured to death by the fake heiress, while my parents and brother turned a blind eye. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the year I was 5 years old. That year, my parents' competitors targeted my brother, planning to kidnap him to force my parents into submission. This time, I chose to turn a blind eye. Useless brother and biased parents, go to hell together. 1. Little girl. Go tell your parents to give up on this project, or your brother will never come back. A middle-aged man wearing a baseball cap and a mask snarled at me. He was tightly gripping my brother in his hand. At that time, my brother was still just a kid, not tall, not big, and not malicious. The look in his eyes held no ferocity, only fear and pleading. The jeans embroidered with Ultraman were soaked in the middle. Big brother had wet his pants. I feigned a look of terror. Nodding vigorously like a chicken pecking at rice, the kidnapper seemed pleased, carrying brother away in a black Honda without even bothering to conceal the license plate. What kind of kidnapper does that? It smells so good. What kind of food is this? I sniffed the air and followed the sweet aroma right to the convenience store entrance, where the colorful cotton candy looked absolutely delicious. By the time I carried the cotton candy home, my parents had already returned, seeing me alone. They asked in confusion, "Where's your brother?" Taking small licks of the cotton candy, I said in a childish voice, "Dunno, cotton candy yummy, mommy daddy want some." The parents searched the house for a while, then combed through the neighborhood several times, but found no trace of their brother. They grew increasingly anxious and began calling the police. However, during that era without surveillance cameras, tracking down human traffickers was extremely difficult. The police officer questioned doubtfully, "Logically speaking, this shouldn't happen. Your neighborhood has excellent security. Why would human traffickers come here?" I've also asked the guards, and no suspicious individuals were seen entering or exiting. Mom collapsed on the floor wailing, while Dad pulled at his own hair in utter despair. I sat on the flower bed, swinging my little legs, watching them unblinkingly with wide eyes. They look so heartbroken and miserable now, so why were they completely unfazed when they watched me die before their eyes in our past life? Humph, brother's life matters, but mine doesn't. In that case, let's all perish together. 2. That very day, missing person posters of my brother covered every street and alley, even appearing on TV with a 30,000 yuan reward. In those days, 30,000 yuan was a substantial amount of money. I had initially wondered if the kidnappers might come forward voluntarily. But once the missing person notices went up, I knew my brother wouldn't return. There was absolutely no chance of a private settlement anymore. Countless cases, big and small, occur every day, so my brother's case was temporarily set aside. In my past life, because I remembered the license plate number, the police easily found my brother, and his way of repaying me was letting me get kidnapped when I was 7. After all, we're siblings by blood, the same flesh and blood runs through our veins. It's only fair to return the favor, isn't it? Gradually revealing my intelligence and talents, I occasionally proposed profitable projects, helping them slowly emerge from the pain of losing their child. Dad happily ruffled my hair. Ningning is truly our lucky star, making mom and dad earn so much money. I giggled sweetly. I saw on TV how big the houses rich people live in are, with swimming pools in front. So impressive. Mom, Dad, let's also move to a bigger house. The neighbors would be wealthy too, and maybe we could network to earn even more money. I've heard people say that social circles are the most important thing. My parents were moved by my words and exchanged glances. Nowadays, our family earns enough to buy a villa, but they still hold on to thoughts of my brother. What if he comes back one day? So I need to sever their hopes and completely erase any trace of my brother from their lives. Dad nodded decisively and said, "All right. We'll listen to Ningning. Social circles are the most important." The next day, my parents went to look at houses and eventually spent a fortune buying a villa in the city center, where all the neighbors were either wealthy or influential figures. Being cute and sweet-tongued, I visited a few nearby households with cookies made by my mom and quickly became friends with them. As a result, my parents secured many projects, although they didn't make much profit due to low pricing. They managed to build valuable connections. Seizing the opportunity, I suggested, "Mom and Dad, since you're both busy with work and I'm often lonely at home, how about adopting an older brother to keep me company?" Why do I need an older brother? Of course, it's to completely replace my brother's position in our parents' hearts, preventing them from giving him all the credit when he returns due to their favoritism towards sons over daughters. I won't let such a thing happen. No way, I'm doing all the work just for his benefit. Now, my parents dote on me and comply with my every wish, so they naturally won't refuse. 3. You can't choose your parents, so there's nothing you can do even if they're useless. But since this brother can be chosen freely, naturally one would pick someone who's completely satisfactory. I suffer from misanthropy towards foolishness, so those with poor intellect are absolutely unacceptable. Ugly ones won't do either, as they'd ruin my appetite. Most importantly, the personality must be good and the heart kind. I don't want a second ungrateful brother. After visiting all the orphanages in the city, I finally found one that met all the requirements, especially the fierce glint in his eyes, which particularly satisfied me. Having seen all kinds of people and ghosts in my past life, someone like him would be hard to control when grown up, but raising him from a young age brings a great sense of accomplishment. My brother is lost. Can you be my brother? I took out a white rabbit creamy candy from my pocket and placed it in his slender hand, saying in a soft, sweet voice, "I have lots of toys and snacks, and I can share half with you. Would you like to come home with me?" No little boy could resist such an adorable kid like me, and he was no exception. He carefully took the candy from my hand without touching me, as if afraid of dirtying my fingers, but I actively grabbed his hand and proudly showed him off to my parents. "Mom and Dad, I like this big brother." His parents were also very satisfied with his appearance. After asking a few more questions and finding him well-behaved and polite, they agreed. I gave him a new name, Lu Xingchen, because his eyes are as beautiful as stars. He lives in the room across from mine, with the same layout as my room. Originally, my parents had intended it for my older brother, but now he's living there. During meals, he also sat in the lower seat beside his father, the same place where his elder brother used to sit. Gradually, he truly took over his brother's position, and their parents instinctively included him in everything they did, even referring to him as our son in private conversations. At first, my elder brother was somewhat timid, but under my guidance, he became more outgoing and confident. However, perhaps it was because the first impression he had of me was that cute and vulnerable appearance, which left too deep a mark on him. This led to him genuinely protecting me like a little sister. Every night he would tell me fairy tales to lull me to sleep. He would pick the food I didn't like and eat it from his own plate. He even wished he could take the pain from me when I accidentally bumped into the table. 4. In the blink of an eye, high school began, and Lu Xingchen, wrapped in love, began to shine brightly, causing a stir the moment she stepped into the school. Although he was older than me, we were in the same class. This was both our parents' wish and his own, so he could better protect me. At the same time, an old acquaintance, Gu Jiejia, reappeared, the very culprit who had tortured me to death in my past life. The fake heiress, she appeared delicate and fragile, with every smile and frown exuding an air of pitiable charm, especially her watery eyes that made it hard not to feel compassion for her. "Xingchen, look in the 3 o'clock direction. Is that girl pretty?" Lu Xingchen followed my gaze and saw Gu Jiejia wearing a white dress with long, straight black hair. He didn't understand my meaning and said seriously, "I don't know. Maybe she's the type boys like." "She's not just the type boys like, she's the type my brother is utterly infatuated with, the kind he'd watch his own sister suffer in agony for." leaving her neither able to live nor die. I licked my lips and asked, "Do you like this type?" A flicker of disgust flashed in his eyes, yet his expression remained composed. "I don't like it," I scoffed. "Then what kind do you like?" He looked down at me, raised an eyebrow, and said, "I like the spoiled, willful, domineering, and unreasonable ones, me." Gu Jiejia and I were classmates. She wasn't admitted through regular exams, but as a special enrollment student, specifically, a financially disadvantaged student. Every year, elite schools admit a few financially disadvantaged students to showcase their tradition of not discriminating based on family background. In reality, these students often end up being bullied here, since most attendees are either heirs or children of the wealthy. In my past life, because my older brother protected her, she was able to swagger around here without fear, but this time Big Brother isn't here. Let's see how she acts up. The first class was self-introductions. Everyone took turns going on stage confidently without stage fright, having experienced big occasions before. Naturally they weren't afraid. When it was Gu Jiejia's turn, her little face flushed red as she hesitated shyly, too embarrassed to go on stage. I am too shy. The teacher smiled and said, "It's all right. It's everyone's first time meeting. Don't be nervous. Let's give a warm round of applause." Classmates, the students started clapping one after another. Seeing that I wasn't moving, Lu Xingchen also refrained from applauding, but after 3 rounds of applause, everyone was growing impatient. Gu Jiejia still hadn't stepped onto the stage, biting her lips, her face turning even redder, with tears welling up in her eyes. What a useless thing. Can't even handle the spotlight. 5. After this incident, everyone naturally distanced themselves from Gu Jiejia, finding her utterly repulsive, crying at the drop of a hat. Outsiders would think someone bullied her. How disgusting. Exactly. Because of her time wasting, we didn't even have time to go to the bathroom after class. So annoying. When assigning seats later, I really hope I don't get paired with her. Such bad luck would ruin my aura. Everyone's voices weren't lowered, and Gu Jiejia heard everything clearly. So she ran to the teacher's office to report it. Such behavior might be tolerable in an ordinary school, but in a prestigious academy, it's practically asking for trouble. Classmate Gu Jiejia has special circumstances, so everyone should be more accommodating towards her. Is there any classmate willing to sit with Gu Jiejia? She's quite timid, and with someone looking after her, she'll quickly adapt to the school environment. After waiting for a long time without any classmates raising their hands, what came instead was a wave of mocking laughter. The teacher cleared her throat lightly and asked, "Classmate Gu Jiejia, who would you like to sit with?" At this point, Gu Jiejia didn't hesitate anymore. Pointing at Lu Xingchen, she said, "I want to sit with Brother Xingchen." The way she called him Brother Xingchen was extremely coy, making those who didn't know them think they were very close. The boys erupted in teasing sounds, while the girls all looked utterly disdainful. The teacher nodded. "All right then, student Lu Xingchen, you'll sit with Gu Jiejia from now on. Take good care of her." Lu Xingchen refused directly. "Sorry teacher, I'm allergic to tears." The classroom fell silent for a few seconds before erupting in laughter. I also curled my lips slightly. His words could be quite sharp-tongued. The teacher frowned slightly, knowing it was an excuse. But since he was nominally the heir of the Lu group, he didn't dare offend him. Thus, he had no choice but to find a girl who seemed more approachable to sit with. After class, Gu Jiejia came looking for Lu Xingchen. She said pitifully, "Brother Xingchen, I didn't mean to put you in a difficult position earlier. I just thought you looked very familiar, as if I've seen you somewhere before." No wonder my brother was completely wrapped around her finger in our past life. Her methods are indeed effective. Standing firm on stage satisfies a guy's vanity. If that doesn't work, then lower your guard in private and play the emotional card. An ordinary guy would probably be won over by this, but Lu Xingchen remains unmoved. "Are you a pigeon? Calling me brother every other word." Gu Jiejia's eyes reddened again as she bit her lip. "Brother Xingchen, do you have some misunderstanding about me, or did you hear someone speaking ill of me? I've had a tough family situation since childhood, and everyone looked down on me. I just want to make friends and not feel so lonely." Lu Xingchen scoffed. "Then you should try making friends with girls, shouldn't you?" Gu Jiejia blurted out. "Girls are too much trouble. I prefer hanging out with boys. It's more straightforward and enjoyable without all the scheming." 6. The classroom instantly erupted with a chorus of boos from the girls. This White Lotus clearly had some green tea bitch attributes. "Don't play the innocent fox with me. We're both old hands at this game." Lu Xingchen curled his lips in a cold smile. "I don't believe all women are as you described, except for you, of course." Even with her thick skin, Gu Jiejia couldn't stay any longer. Flushing red, she returned to her seat and burst into tears with her face buried in her arms. But no one went to comfort her. They all just laughed at her. What a toad lusting after a swan's flesh. Can't she see how obviously he's rejecting her, still throwing herself at him just to be humiliated? Who says otherwise? The heir to the Lu group is someone she could ever dream of. They say women are scheming, but hers takes the cake. Lu Xingchen appears gentle and refined on the surface, but who knew he'd be such an expert at spotting gold diggers? Propping my chin, I finished enjoying the spectacle before asking with a smile, Xingchen, this is the first time I've seen you be so sarcastic. He unscrewed the thermos for me and gestured for me to drink. The people you don't like, I don't like either. I took small sips of water and chuckled lightly. Liar, you obviously didn't like her yourself. He raised an eyebrow, somewhat surprised. You noticed? I blinked and asked, why don't you like her? He pondered seriously for a moment. Her eyes are full of calculation and greed. Indeed, a brother chosen by oneself is far smarter than one with no choice. Gu Jiejie began to be isolated and ostracized, with no one speaking to her anymore. Even when she initiated conversations, people ignored her. They even sarcastically remarked, I'm a girl with deep schemes, you should find a guy instead. The boys sneered and said, we can't compare to the heir of the Lu group. You should go find him, logically. After reaching this point, one would usually stop making a fuss, attend classes obediently, and eventually be forgiven by everyone after some time, but her thought process was unusual. During the basketball game, she took the initiative to bring water to Lu Xingchen. Brother Xingchen, you play basketball so well. The whole school was watching, and boys from other classes were laughing and egging her on from the sidelines. It seemed like she was trying to emotionally manipulate Lu Xingchen, or perhaps gain sympathy from everyone, since many students from other classes didn't know the full story. Lu Xingchen sneered, no matter how well I play, it's not for you to see. Take fewer glances. After taking a few steps, he turned back and added, I don't know how many good brothers you have, but I'm certainly not one of them. Please stop calling me that. Thank you. With that, he walked straight toward me, noticing me lazily watching the commotion from the side. He snatched the half-drunk water bottle from my hand and took a sip. After finishing, he handed the empty bottle back to me and asked, were you looking at her or at me? I took the water bottle and teased with a smile, how do you manage to never take her bait? Lu Xingchen scoffed, do you think all men in the world are fools? Her intentions are so obvious. Who would actually take the bait? Many did take the bait, like my brother in my past life, and even mom and dad. With all their experience reading people, how could they not see through such obvious tricks? There's only one reason. They thought she was more important than me. 7. After the basketball game, Lu Xingchen gained a fan club, all consisting of his little admirers. When we met in the restroom, I casually remarked, that girl from our class keeps pestering my brother every day, and he's utterly annoyed. How can a girl be so thick-skinned? No matter how he rejects her, it's useless. And it's seriously affecting my brother's studies. If only someone could stop her. Sigh. That afternoon, Gu Jiejie emerged from the bathroom completely drenched. She knew she had angered everyone and didn't dare report it to the teacher. I despise school bullying and have even helped rescue other girls before, but only when seeing Gu Jiejie being bullied do I feel an intense sense of pleasure. After being targeted for half a month, Gu Jiejie finally backed down and never dared to pester Lu Xingchen again, but Lu Xingchen began to frequently cross paths with Gu Jiejie, allowing others to continue misunderstanding, which led to everyone persistently bullying Gu Jiejie. Eventually, she proactively requested a class transfer from the teacher and moved to the grades underperforming class, finally putting an end to the turmoil. The underperforming class had a spoiled rich second-generation student who was handsome but had a wild lifestyle. After seeing Gu Jiejie enter the restroom, I leisurely followed her in with the other girls from our class. Qingyi is quite handsome. Go ask him if he has a girlfriend for me. Wow, even our Miss Lu has developed feelings for someone. But he's really handsome and comes from a wealthy family. He must be hard to get. He looks so wild, but I really like that vibe. Exactly. I like him too. I think he's even more exciting than your brother. Soon Gu Jiejie started dating Qingyi, and she often flaunted their relationship in front of me. Every time I turned away to avoid bursting into laughter, she mistook it for sadness, which only made her more smug. Soon, the scandalous photos of Gu Jiejie and Qingyi began circulating within a small circle of male students. Coming from a family that owned entertainment venues, Qingyi was exposed to wilder scenes from an early age. He often engaged in group activities, accepting partners of all ages, his motto being pure thrill. While I was admiring the photos, Lu Xingchen appeared behind me, snatched my phone, and blushed furiously after just one glance. What do you think of these things? I chuckled lightly. You want to see too? Then let's watch together. After seeing the protagonist, Lu Xingchen silently returned the phone to me. 8. In the blink of an eye, Gu Jiejia had already undergone 6 abortions for Qingyi. The pitiful white lotus image she once had completely vanished, replaced by smoking, tattoos, and skirts shortened to thigh-high length, a full-fledged delinquent girl. Meanwhile, Lu Xingchen and I were achieving better academic results, ranking first and second in our grade, the pride of teachers and classmates alike. Every year I would host a birthday banquet, inviting all my classmates to strengthen our bonds, while also providing a good opportunity for our parents' generation to network and explore collaborations. Many students at school considered it an honor to attend my birthday banquet. This was my coming-of-age ceremony, exceptionally grand, with several industry leaders in attendance. I prepared a grand gift for my parents. Mom, Dad, I've been searching for you so desperately. Just as my parents and the VIPs were toasting, the door suddenly burst open, and a heart-wrenching, sorrowful male voice cried out, "I've finally come home." After saying that, he sat on the ground and burst into tears, bald, dressed in rags, with a fierce scar on his face. He didn't look like a good person, especially with the foul stench emanating from him. Everyone silently took a few steps back, and the melodious piano music came to a stop. Mom asked in confusion, "Who are you?" The older brother immediately looked up excitedly, with tears and snot running down his face, looking both pitiful and disgusting. "Mom, Dad, I'm Lu Qingjing, your son, don't you remember me?" As he spoke, he tried to hug Mom, who instinctively took a few steps back because of the terrible smell, quickly covering her nose. I said with disgust, "Why do you smell so bad? Do you have some kind of contagious disease?" I threw back every word Gu Jiejia had said to him, without missing a single one. My brother's eyes turned bloodshot when he saw me, stepping forward to hit me. "Lu Yining, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have ended up like this." Lu Xingchen immediately shielded me, his expression icy as he said, "Don't bully my sister." I peeked out and said innocently, "Brother, stay away from him, he looks like an ex-convict. Did he just get out of prison?" Everyone silently took a few steps back. The older brother completely lost his temper, started overturning tables, and roared in anger, "How long have I been gone? You've already found someone to replace me. You're too much. I hate you." The security guards arrived in time and restrained the older brother, but this banquet was also forcibly interrupted. When they left, everyone had different expressions on their faces. What happened tonight would spread throughout the circle by tomorrow morning. The business deal that Mom, Dad, and the big shot were discussing also came to nothing in the end. Dad was so angry that he started throwing a tantrum as soon as they left. Couldn't he have come back at any other time? He had to show up now and completely humiliate us. Mom rubbed her temples, seemingly suffering from a headache caused by the earlier commotion. This child really came back at the wrong time. 9. The older brother, who had just finished showering and came downstairs, turned red with anger upon hearing this. "I'm your own flesh and blood. You don't care at all about how I made it back, how I've been all these years. I dreamed of our family reunion every night. How could you treat me like this?" A 6-foot-tall man sat on the floor wailing. Just how much grievance must he have endured? Unfortunately, because he had just embarrassed his parents so much, they not only didn't feel sorry for him, but also thought he was disgraceful and shameful. Dad waved his hand. "Enough. What kind of man cries at the drop of a hat? Since you're home, just stay put and don't go out making trouble." The older brother wiped his tears and snot with his sleeve, still sniffling, as he pointed at Lu Xingchen viciously. "Kick him out. Now that I'm back, keeping this replacement here just makes me sick." Before I could even speak, my parents said in unison, "No." My brother was so angry that his hands clenched tightly into fists, veins bulging on his forehead. "Mom, Dad, I'm your real son," my mother soothed. "We know, but Xingchen has gotten along very well with us all these years, and everyone likes him." Dad also added, "You should learn more from him." Hearing this, the older brother completely lost his temper and swung a fist intending to hit Lu Xingchen, who lightly sidestepped and perfectly dodged it. Extending his foot, he tripped the brother, but with the sofa blocking the view, their parents didn't clearly see this small move and only thought the brother had lost his balance. The brother fell so hard that his nose started bleeding, but instead of receiving any comfort, he was met with scolding. Dad cursed, "You disgraceful thing. If you keep making trouble, I'll throw you out." The older brother trembled with rage, but didn't dare to make a scene, because he realized this was no longer the home he remembered, and his parents no longer loved him. When resting at night, the older brother stared at Lu Xingchen's spacious room with venom in his eyes and said, "From now on, I'll sleep here, you go sleep in the guest room." With our parents absent, I dropped the act and sneered, "Brother, it seems you still haven't figured out your place in this family. During the time you were kidnapped, Brother Xingchen has long since taken your place, not just in our parents' affection, but also your inheritance rights." Brother Xingchen is handsome and outstanding. Not only does he excel academically, but he's also incredibly popular. The young ladies and gentlemen in our social circle all seek him out willingly. Do you really think your bloodline alone can compare to the benefits he's brought to the company? You'd better show some respect to Brother Xingchen from now on. Otherwise, once our parents grow old, you'll be thrown out and forced to return to that life of wandering and begging. Lu Xingchen stood quietly behind me, silent yet exuding an overwhelming aura of intimidation. Big Brother was furious, erupting into helpless rage. He nearly threw something but restrained himself. Terrified that Dad might hear and actually kick him out, grinding his molars to dust. Fine, just you two wait and see. 10. After escorting me back to my room, Lu Xingchen asked, "Do you really despise your brother?" I nodded. "Yes, I want to kill him." Lu Xingchen looked at me with a complicated expression, but didn't try to console me. I licked my lips. "Xingchen, don't you think Gu Jiejie and my brother are a match made in heaven?" After some thought, Lu Xingchen nodded. "A perfect match." I curled my lips. As expected of the brother I chose, he never questions any of my decisions. The weather turned cold, and the days of the Qin Group's desperate struggle finally came to an end, with bankruptcy declared. Naturally, there was no more money to play around with Gu Jiejie. When Qin Yi was around, Gu Jiejie was particularly arrogant, bullying many classmates. Now that she's lost her protector, everyone has started bullying her again. I arranged for people to corner her in an alley and beat her up. Then I played the hero and came to her rescue. Then it was only natural to invite her over to my place. Gu Jiejie, desperately needing a lifeline at this moment, naturally wouldn't refuse me, even going out of her way to flatter me in her words. I smiled gently. "Let bygones be bygones. Let's be good friends from now on." Gu Jiejie nodded eagerly, afraid I might change my mind. I brought her a short skirt and told her to go take a shower in my brother's room. Since my brother had just moved in, his room was still empty and no different from a guest room. Coincidentally, my brother, who had gotten tired from playing games in the garden, had just returned to his room. 5 minutes passed, and it was still quiet inside. I spread my hands. "Xingchen, you lost." Lu Xingchen placed this month's allowance in my hand. "You understand human nature better than I do." I smiled faintly. "When it comes to human nature, you understand it better. But when it comes to the temperament of beasts, I understand it better than you." 11. That evening, Gu Jiejie stayed for dinner, reverting to her original White Lotus persona, docile and gentle. To top it off, I helped gild her image. Although Jiejie doesn't come from a privileged background, she studies exceptionally hard and refuses to yield to fate. She has a wonderful personality, and we all love spending time with her. Many guys are pursuing her too, but she has high standards and usually doesn't fancy ordinary guys. At this moment, Lu Xingchen also proactively picked up a spare rib for her. He said gently, "You can't eat spicy food. This one isn't spicy." Gu Jiejie was flattered. Her brother's eyes filled with determination, while I pursed my lips and struggled to suppress the smile at the corners of my mouth. Soon, her brother started dating Gu Jiejie. Initially, their parents had some reservations, feeling that Gu Jiejie's family background was too humble to match their son, but her brother insisted, believing that true love was what mattered most. As he said this, he provocatively glanced at Lu Xingchen, who lowered his head with a sorrowful expression. Thus, the elder brother became even more resolute, unwavering until death. In the end, Mom and Dad finally nodded in agreement. Gu Jiejie, who had undergone 6 abortions, had a highly fertile constitution and soon became pregnant again. Dad was especially delighted. "Great, truly my son. The Lu family lineage will continue. If it's a boy, I'll reward Gu Jiejie with 1 million yuan. Gu Jiejie's eyes instantly lit up. "Thank you, uncle." Mother looked tenderly at her belly, her eyes also filled with joy. I seized the opportunity to say, "Since Jiejie is also pregnant, how about holding a grand wedding? It would also be a good chance to introduce Big Brother to everyone." Naturally, they happily agreed and immediately scheduled the wedding for the end of the month. While passing by the study at night, I overheard my parents whispering, "Xingjing has been wasting his years outside and can't inherit the family business. Although Yining is outstanding, she's still a girl after all, and the company can't be handed over to her. If this child is a boy, he'll inherit the company in the future. If it's not a boy, we'll keep having children until we get one." Although the company has reached its current scale thanks to Yining, it's just her fate not being born a boy. I curled my lips. Just like in my past life, they still favor sons over daughters. Then I'll send them another grand gift. 12. Although the wedding between brother and Gu Jiejie was somewhat rushed, every item used was exquisitely luxurious. I marveled. "Xingchen, this wedding is truly beautiful." Lu Xingchen glanced at the USB drive I was fiddling with and chuckled. and yet you're still planning to destroy it, facing my provocatively toasting elder brother. I also raised my drink and clinked it with his from a distance, taking a small sip, smiling meaningfully. I said, otherwise they won't learn their lesson. The wedding march slowly began to play as my brother and Gujieja walked hand in hand, making a barely passable handsome couple. Both my father and mother took turns giving speeches on stage, reading from heartfelt scripts that brought tears to their eyes. Lu Xingchen peeled a white rabbit milk candy for me. I chuckled softly. What's this for? I'm not a kid anymore. He pushed the candy to my lips. Sweet. I mischievously licked it with my tongue and blinked. It really is sweet. He reached out and pinched my cheek, then shoved it straight in, rubbing my still aching cheek. I turned and headed backstage. Ah. A wolf pup will always be a wolf pup. It can never become a lapdog. After entering backstage, I spoke directly. You go attend the banquet. I'll handle the rest. The staff member cheerfully said, all right. Just as the brother and Gujieja exchanged rings and leaned in for a kiss, the loving video on the electronic screen behind them switched to footage of Gujieja and Qingyi. The audience instantly erupted in gasps of shock. The brother and Gujieja, thinking everyone was cheering them on, became even more enthusiastic. Everyone shouted loudly, look behind, look behind. The two who had just kissed turned around with smiles, thinking it was a surprise prepared by their parents. Just a second ago, Gujieja thought she was at the peak of her life, but the next moment she felt a chill run through her body, as if falling into an ice cave. The smile on her brother's face instantly froze, and he snarled, good. So you've been lying to me all along. Gujieja's face turned deathly pale as she trembled and said, let me explain. Her brother punched Gujieja hard in the face, then kicked her stomach. Tell me now, whose bastard is in your belly? Gujieja's snow-white dress was instantly stained red with blood. Writhing in pain, she couldn't even make a sound, but her brother, blinded by rage, continued beating and kicking her mercilessly. Someone in the audience wanted to go up and break up the fight, but the brother was acting like a madman at that moment. When our parents came out of the restroom and saw this scene, they hurried onto the stage to intervene, but were instead pushed away by the brother. Mom hit her head against a pillar. Blood gushed out immediately, and she fainted from shock. Dad was also punched by the brother, knocking out his front teeth. Even 4 security guards couldn't restrain the frenzied brother. It wasn't until the police arrived that he was finally subdued. The brother was taken to the police station, while Mom, Dad, and Gujieja went to the hospital. 13. Gujieja's child miscarried. Her spine was fractured, 8 ribs were broken, and she was in resuscitation for 7 hours, although she survived. She will need to lie in bed for the rest of her life. For easier bowel movements, she cannot wear pants, living without any dignity. The mother had a mild concussion, but it's not a serious issue. The father had 2 porcelain fused to metal dental crowns implanted. I sat on the flower bed, swinging my legs, staring at them with wide, unblinking eyes. Now, I thought my parents would hire the best lawyer to reduce my brother's prison sentence by a couple of years. But they acted as if they never had this son. Oh, so they only feel the pain when they're the ones getting hurt. After the college entrance exams, I became the top science student. While Lu Xingchen scored 1 point less than me, I grinned widely, flashing my white teeth, and surprisingly he didn't seem annoyed at all. How embarrassingly my parents behaved at my brother's wedding last time is exactly how joyfully they're smiling at my college celebration now. They've finally realized I'm their only true pride. After graduation, I inherited my parents' company. Initially, I planned to scrap it and sell it as waste, destroying their life's work. But there was just too much money involved. I couldn't bring myself to do it. Being the CEO is actually quite comfortable. Lu Xingchen became a professor because during a truth or dare game at a class reunion after the college entrance exams, they asked me what type of person I liked. I couldn't keep my mouth shut and said, I like the refined but wicked type, like a professor. The classmates erupted in screams. From then on, Lu Xingchen started wearing gold-rimmed glasses, with white shirts as his signature look. Baffling. 14. Gujieja went insane. I arranged it, then had her committed to a mental institution. My brother had a terrible time in prison. I hired several thugs to take turns serving him daily. He eventually swallowed a toothbrush and killed himself. They say he died in agony, muttering my name and some strange words about rebirth. I'd been thinking about how to arrange things so my parents wouldn't get their hands dirty, yet still make them suffer. But in the end, they beat me to it. They got hit by a truck while driving out, both seriously injured. I comforted the truck driver. I know you didn't mean to. Life's hard for you too. You don't have insurance for the truck, right? Forget it then. No need for compensation. I'll even fix your truck for you. Everyone calls me the most conscientious businessman. I turned to the doctor and said, donate all the usable tracheas for my parents, and donate their bodies too. The doctor, who initially thought resuscitation was possible, swallowed their words at the last moment. Okay, thank you, really thank you so much. On behalf of the patients who will receive help, I express my sincere gratitude. I smiled as I accepted all the praise and honors. It was what I deserved. Stepping out of the hospital, I saw Lu Xingchen waving at me from his newly bought sports car. The weather